guessing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. We up in this thing representing the Sports Coma. Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Fam was popping. Big ups to you guys. Appreciate y'all for being in the live stream. Much love to everybody. Big ups to the fam. What's popping? So much love is day 5 recap, news, notes, and more. So big ups to the fam. Y'all feel free to smash upon the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. If you're listening via Twitter or X, whatever you call it, please feel free to give us a retweet. It is absolutely free. All those things are basically free. How you love that? Anyway, big ups to y'all. Appreciate y'all being in the stream, man. In this one, we're going to talk about a few news, notes, and items on the black and gold today, man. Shout out to all the fam here, but kind of the news that we're talking about here. I wanted to play this as something that flashed apart on the information wire not too long ago about the Saints have an offer on the table for Alvin Kamara. We know they had some little roughness between Mickey Loomis. Oh, well, hold on now. There's no roughness. Oh, we got a value. Well, you guys think they're up here? And we think you're down here somewhere. We just have to, it's a personal thing. Yes, indeed. So big ups to you guys. And it's good to see that the Saints are ultimately trying to iron it out, because it really doesn't make any sense unless you have a bona fide player that you trust and believe that can carry the day like Alvin Kamara could. I mean, I just think it just makes more sense. Alvin's not trying to get out of here. Your Saints already paying him a chunk of change right now. We'll talk about this on the show, and we'll also have some other things we'll go over with as well. But before we get into it, let me play this right here, because hold on, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here you go. Let me play this for y'all before we jump up into it. This is from obviously from this is Mickey Loomis. He was on XM radio a couple of days ago, and he was talking about the Alvin Kamara contract situation. People asked him about it, and this is what he had to say. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all can hear Mickey Loomis talk.
Generally, I don't answer questions like you just asked me.
That's why. There you go. That's the answer. That's number one.
But yeah, so generally, I don't like talking about players' contracts in a public forum, because here's one thing that I've recognized over the years: your contract, whether it's mine or yours or a player's, that's personal to them. And for the team or the business, it's business. And so we have to keep in mind that these are personal issues, and they become emotional. And even though there's an agent in between, a lot of times you don't know, is the agent communicating it exactly the way you intended? And I'm not saying that they are or aren't. I'm just saying you don't know that. And so I try to keep that close to the vest and not discuss it. I let the players speak for themselves. And I thought, Alvin did a great job the other day. He wants to be with the Saints. That's who he wants to play for. And I appreciate that. And I want him to play for us. And I think eventually this will just work out.
Let me apologize for Kirk.
I have to ask the questions from the player perspective.
He's been on that side.
I've been in these discussions.
Listen, he's been on that side of the equation.
I don't freaking apologize, man, for asking. It wasn't even a tough question to ask him about Alvin Kamara's contract, because it really is not that. I mean, personal. I mean, it's business. Feelings don't have nothing to do with this. It's all business. It's a contract. It's an agreement. Whether you want to pay me or not, do you feel my value is worth what I'm asking, or is it around what I'm asking? It's not very personal, because I can go online right now and find out exactly how much money Mickey Loomis is paying Alvin Kamara. Matter of fact, here it is right here. Check it out. Yeah, this is real personal. Alvin Kamara, 29 years of age. Look at his contract right here and see that 2024, he's making $2.2 million as a base salary with a prorated signing bonus of 6.8 plus regular roster bonus of $1 million, $500,000 per game, $100,000 with a workout bonus, and a guarantee of $1 million. Oh yeah, very personal. In 2025 is $22.4 million. Oh wow, well, there you go. It's very personal. Just get it done, bro. Just get it done, man. Only people that's really taking this personal is Mickey Loomis, to be honest with you. He's governed by his feelings. Feelings, all wound up in feeling. Could you imagine Mickey Loomis singing songs, walking around, feelings, all my feelings. Yeah. No. The only person governed by feelings is Mickey. And trust me, Alvin Kamara knows this is a total business trend.
And I saw him nodding when I said it's personal, because you take offense when here's the thing, part of our job is to get the deal right. And sometimes that means you have to tell the player he's not as good as he thinks he is,
right.
or you tell the agent that, right? Yeah. And that's what I mean by how does that get communicated? That's a hard thing to do, because these guys are valuable players, and particularly someone who's been such a great contributor, been great in the community, a great representative of your team, and you're telling them, you're not worth what you think. That's hard. It's hard to do. It's a hard process, but necessary. And I just don't like talking about it.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about. Yeah, but you're sitting up there talking about it. But it's a pressing matter, and it's not too much personal, because Alvin Kamara put it on Front Street a couple of practices ago. He put everything out there. He said it all. He said he left it in their court. So let's just get it done, Mick. Let's just get it done. It's like Mickey. Oh, like, come on now. It's a personal thing. It's just you don't want to talk about it. But let's just get this done, because it don't make no sense not to pay them, man, because you don't have no kind of way of replacing them. A shout out to who did this report. I don't know who did it. I'm sorry. But anyway, Saints Wire. There you go. New Orleans Saints have an offer on the table for Alvin Kamara. This is what was delivered. Saints family members or supporters have been waiting to hear these words. Sports Illustrated.com's Albert Breer reported that the team has an offer for running back Alvin Kamara on the negotiating table. It's been previously reported that the two sides aren't close on a number, but the front office has at least made it known that they're willing to play ball. This comes after the Saints general manager, Mickey Loomis, who I just played a snippet of that interview from, said that he wants to play for New Orleans. And all this is well known. Despite seeking a new deal, Kamara has not missed any training camp practices. It makes sense that Kamara is seeking a new deal. He's likely looking for a long-term security that'll get on his current contract, which has no guaranteed money remaining after this year. While he's signed through 25, Saints could have a significant amount of money if he's released. It could save them a lot of money. He doesn't want to become a salary cap casualty. There's a lot of hype surrounding Kamara and in the potential resurgence he could find with the Saints' new offensive staff. Right. This is just a big part of it. No numbers are obviously thrown out there yet. They're just saying they got a deal. This will develop and it'll be out there, and to let it be known. So anyway, what could a possible deal with Alvin Kamara look like, you might ask yourself? You don't even have to work over your brain, because the homework has already been done for you, baby. Let's go right on over here to my brother Kyle T. Mosley on his site, and John Hendricks, shout out to them, always giving them shout outs. What could a contract between Alvin Kamara and the Saints look like? See, the homework's already been done, baby. There's a lot of thoughts on what the Saints should do with Alvin Kamara, and there's one more to consider after weighing out several options. Let's dig into it. The Saints salary cap situation, which I can give you a live update on that currently. As you can see right here, let's bounce to it. The cap figure as of overthecap.com right now at 7:43 p.m. Central Time, 11.8 plus mil is what the Saints have currently with their cap situation. All right, going back to this article right here, the New Orleans Saints increased to 255.4 mil this year, up 30 million from last year, which is over 13%. If we just use the basis of 10% increase due to the increased network contracts and other factors, the cap could be around 281. Then he covers, a lot of the players on there, how much money from an annual standpoint that they're making. Then he kind of transitions to Kamara's $29 million deal this year. And there's some confusion about Kamara's deal. So let's take a look according over the cap. All right. So you see all these are numbers I just showed you early on with 2024 at 18.55 mil, dead money, 18 million, cap savings of just over $100 million. Right. And then you see the 25 there and then voided years from 26 on back. Right now, then you get into how this is calculated. Kamara has a base salary of $2.2 million and a prorated signing bonus of 6.8 plus. There is also the $1 million roster bonus that triggered on March 13th. And then it's up to $500,000 and $100,000 for the workout bonus. And this year doesn't seem like the issue, but the future is additional commitment guarantees and money feel like it could be warranted, especially if the vision for Kamara and Clint Kubiak's offense is to be that Christian McCaffrey-esque staple. That is indeed the mindset, baby. That is indeed the mindset. The mindset is you have Clint Kubiak here. Do not handicap Clint Kubiak by not helping Alvin Kamara. Now, of course, he's not going to hold out. He's going to play, so that's not an issue. But it does look good that he is deciding not to cost himself money, which is what, $50,000 a day by not being there. He said, I ain't going to cost myself money when I'm trying to get the money. That's what Alvin said when he first was interviewed. And that's a smart decision to do. Don't cost yourself money, because he still is getting paid this year pretty good money, right? Very good money. So he's like, okay, whatever. So his standpoint is, listen, I'm going to just play it out and whatever happens, happens. The ball is in your court. If I don't get the money from the Saints, I'm going to get it from somebody else. You best believe he will. I'm just going to keep it all the way funky with you. 2027 is a prorated signing bonus. And the bottom line is Kamara has no guarantees in his future. And there's no way he's going to see that $29 million in 25. However, if the Saints were to move on from Kamara after this season, he's still owed some money, a lot of voided years on his contract, voided years. And that's just a phantom deal. That's the same technique that Slick Mickey Loomis, who likes to cook the books. Mickey is like he's like greasy thumb Jake Gusick. If y'all remember the old Untouchables movie, so these are some of my more experienced people from back in the day. See, I'm part Italian, so I like a lot of mobster movies. Hell, I like a lot of Italian food. I cook a lot of Italian food. I cook all kind of food. But anyway, the reality is, that's a part of the game. So there was a mobster who was the accountant for the mob back in the day under the Capone mob. And you had Al Capone, you had what's the other dude? His number two, Frank Nitti. These are all very popular mobsters that a lot of people made movies about over time. Even rappers named themselves after some of these guys, right? But there was a guy that cooked the books and made sure all of the dummy businesses where he'll funnel all of the illegal money into legitimate businesses, which made it very difficult for them to be caught up by the people. You see what I'm saying? And they had a bookkeeper. His name was Jake Greasy Thumb, and they would call him Greasy Thumb Gooseit. Jake Greasy Thumb Gooseit. And Jake that's Mickey Loomis. That's Mickey Loomis. Mickey cooks the books and kicks the can. But he can't kick the can this year because he's kicked the can and got so damn heavy that he got a sore toe by trying to kick it down the line. It's no more kicking of the can. You got to face the music. So this is what's happening. That's why we see a lot of 1-year deals right here. And he kind of warns you about that. Coming to this year and next year, and the year after that, you'll see major cap freed up because several players that's currently under contract will no longer be under contract, and the Saints will have a lot of money. So 3 years from now, fam, I'm telling you, just short 3 years from now, the New Orleans Saints organization will look totally different. just 3 years from now. 3 years. 3 short years from now, it's all going to look different. All right, whether that's good different or bad different, I don't know. Just different, right? All right, is age just a number? Age is certainly a factor here, but let's not forget the Saints used Mark Ingram when he was 32 and 33 with 2022 being his final season in the league. Ingram even performed well with the Ravens in his 30-year-old season. Other running backs like Raheem Mostert, who's 31, Peterson, who's 33, Frank Gore, who's 31, 33, accomplished successful 1,000-yard campaigns in the past decade. It's a valid concern, but only certainly not given that Kamara's production would just plummet. After all, he's some of the best conditioned out there. And I agree with this. Like Alvin Kamara, when you talk about Adrian Peterson, Mark Ingram, and Frank Gore, all these guys were featured backs, right? Not saying Alvin wasn't, but it's different. It's like Adrian Peterson got his work on. They utilized it, like they fed the beast with Adrian Peterson. They fed him, they gave him the ball. They they just wore him out, and they wore him out so much like, okay, we done got as much as we're going to get out this old horse. Let's send him on up the road. See if the next guy up the street won't buy him. And he put the work on him. That's what the Vikings pretty much did. But if you look at Alvin Kamara, even though he's getting up in age, he has not been that workhorse back. That's the old term they used to use, the workhorse. Y'all remember that? Put one in the chat if y'all remember. In even recent NFL memory, they used to call featured backs workhorse backs. Used to call them workhorse because they would put the whole workload on their shoulders, and they would say, hey, man, you go ahead on and handle your business. Alvin Kamara has not been done that. He's been featured, but been in a situation where he was in a combination with running backs. It's been a situation where he's been featured with 3 running backs. So he has not, especially over the last 2 and 3 years, has not been a workhorse back or a back that they put a lot on his shoulders. He's not a beat up guy, not tore on up. You don't have all these weird injuries that most running backs get when they get that. He still has a lot of, if you want to consider it like a car, still has a lot of mileage on him, right? Mileage to get, not like a mileage on him. He still has a lot to give. So it's not beyond the realm of common sense that Alvin Kamara shouldn't be a guy you give a contract. And still in all, even though Kamara's he's the best back you have, he's still in the committee of running backs. And he's so good as a player where you can take AK-41 and move him all over the field. He don't have to just be a running back, right? He's dangerous no matter where you place him. This is what I'm saying. There's not a lot of running backs with that skill set. And that could have that kind of impact. You got a handful of running backs that you considered are dangerous backs where you got to know where's Alvin at? Where is he at? Even if he's behind the quarterback, to the right or left split to the quarterback, or he's spread out as a wide receiver. Even if you decoy him, they're still scared of Alvin Kamara, trust and believe. And the Saints have not used Alvin Kamara till his fullest potential over the last 3 years. They haven't. And then when we finally get an offense, not just saying Sean Payton, we had a good offense with Sean Payton, was just Pete Carmichael was a beta male. He was sitting back there eating cheese. He look like I'm saying, fam, didn't Pete Carmichael look like a little mouse or something, like a little, that type of little, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It just looked weird, At times, Dennis Allen looks like a possum in the face. Like when he gets really disturbed, I call him possum puss. He kind of has he gets that possum look in his face. You know what I'm saying? He don't look like it when he happy. When he gets mad, he got that possum puss. You know what I'm saying? He looks like a possum in the face, But, it's just weird. You know what I'm saying? It comes, it pops up at weird times. Like when he gets mad and you see it, like Pete Carmichael, same thing with Pete Carmichael. He had he had them glasses and he had the teeth, and you could just see him eating cheese in the corner, going in the corner somewhere, somebody give him cheese and he just snatch it out your hand and run to the corner and be doing it. That's, I don't know. It's just weird. I always just see that with Pete Carmichael. Anyway, man, I'm going to leave Pete alone, man. Let me keep it pushing. All right, so anyway, you got a strong guarantee, but those talks haven't been led since the original report came out. Naturally, the solution is to find middle ground here. You can't look at Kamara's situation and not consider factors that haven't exactly helped him out, like play calling, the instability at the offensive line, and his 3-game suspension. The only game he missed due to injury was the season finale after hurting his ankle against the Bucs from the previous week 7 of his 13 games saw him appear in 60% of the offensive snaps or more. So this is a great point. You remember he had the suspension early last year with the Vegas situation that happened. He doesn't really often miss that many games because he's well conditioned. And he mentioned, and just like John Hendricks does, he's a stickler for details. He's very good statistically and has a good memory to be able to correlate everything together to give you a full view, just like Bob Rose does. So these guys have good skills in making you see the vision of what's going on, as opposed to just throwing words out there. They painting these pictures very well. I'm getting it. So that's the thing with Alvin Kamara, man, that you're looking at when you see Alvin Kamara. To me, man, is a dude that still has great value to the Saints. And I ain't talking about the cheap shit that you buy at Walmart. I'm talking about the real great value. I'm talking about he's a dude that can add a lot of punch to your offense if you use him correctly. That's the bottom line. He can use him. He got the game. You got to utilize him. We finally get an offense with an offensive coordinator that's serious enough to say, listen, the dude came here with pressure on him. He knew he could have stayed his ass in San Francisco. He didn't have to take the offensive coordinator job. He knew what he was facing with. They understand perfectly that if they don't win this year and get the Saints in the playoffs, all of them fired. He understand that. Now, whether they rehire him as the coach, that's yet to be determined, because the Saints can go in a totally different direction. You never know with Mickey Loomis. But like I said, that was a huge gamble by Clint Kubiak leaving the 49ers and coming here to take the offensive coordinator job, knowing that Dennis Allen is indeed on the hot seat. So he does it. He said he came here for Alvin Kamara. So make sure Alvin Kamara and Clint Kubiak are, make sure Alvin's happy so that they can go in and get this offense going. Because I really do truly think that Alvin Kamara in this offense could do, and I've said this countless times since they brought Kubiak aboard, I said Alvin Kamara can do every bit of what Christian McCaffrey does, some of it better. And I know that's a lot to say, because Alvin never led the league in rushing. Christian McCaffrey done some fantastic stuff. I think he did that twice in his career, like led the NFL in rushing. Alvin never did that. He never did that. But I'm saying that he can do that. He can do everything Christian McCaffrey can do. Alvin Kamara can do it. You just have to make sure that you have everything set up for him so he can be able to thrive. It don't have to be perfect, but it has to work. You get what I'm saying? It don't have to be perfect, but it has to work. And it has to work the majority of the time. So anyway, this is going into the contract aspect of the question. Actually, what does the contract? There was some backdrop on it. Pitching Alvin Kamara contract, whether you want to call it a rework contract or an extension, a 2-year window for Alvin in 25, 26, age 30 and 31. That's what it'll be. Could go a long way to the tune of $25 million with $17 million guaranteed. Right? That's generously guaranteed 68% of the financials to Kamara. And that would say a lot. The exact number isn't totally relevant, but 15 to 20 million in guarantees feel like the window for 2 years. How do y'all like that? A little bit more on it here. All right. And it could be different if it were up to 3 years. Because that's a good question. Is it 2 or 3? Do the Saints feel good about 2 or 3 years? I'm thinking more on the 2 side than 3. You dig? That's what I'm looking at. But the Saints could also just make things work for 24 and 25, similar to what they've done with players like Tyrann Mathieu, Demario Davis, and Cam Jordan. Of course, a lot of it correlates with the core members of the team. So that's how you set it up. You don't just willy-nilly do it. So when you set these agreements, obviously you're looking at the near future, because the Saints are supposed to be a team that's contending right now, right? Let us not forget, even though Mickey Loomis might want to say other things. I remember what they originally said when they put this together. Played a press conference here a couple years ago. And I remember what they said. And the window to win is now. Demario Davis and Tyrann Mathieu and Cam Jordan and even Derek Carr, these guys are not future players. These are right now players. The future players are guys like Jake Hayner and the kid we just picked up from South Carolina, Spencer Rattler. Those guys are few. A.T. Perry, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave is even a guy that you hadn't seen the best of. You haven't seen the best of Chris Olave yet. He's still getting better, right? And that's scary. But a lot of these players that are currently on the team, they have a future component to them. And I'm talking near future, like you talking in 3 years. You might, if you really believe in these guys, you could see these guys within 3 years, 2 to 3 years. If they don't work out this year, you might see them sooner than that. You see what I'm saying? The future can come very fast, can arrive very fast, depending on what happened now. It really could. If they don't work it out now, the future is next year. I'm telling you, it could get that strange that fast. So let's look at it. New Orleans guaranteed 68.6 of Carl Granderson's deal last year and 68% of Demario Davis' 3-year deal in 2020. The final number is what the Saints and Kamara need to get on. But if they can't get the 2 or 3 year deal done with a strong threshold for the guaranteed money, then they could avoid a potential headache when it comes to training camp, which is here. The clock may be ticking, but there's still plenty of time to get all this handled before veterans. And then this was an article obviously written early in July. So this is something we're revisiting because the information, a lot of the contract information is still very valid. So what does an Alvin Kamara contract look like, that could suit both teams, right? A rework deal, 2 years, which will put Alvin to hit 30 and 31. To the tune of $25 million, right? 2 year window, $25 million with $17 million guaranteed. How do y'all feel about that? Okay. How do y'all feel about that? An Alvin Kamara contract, 2 year contract worth $25 million with 17 of it guaranteed. How does that feel to y'all? How do y'all like that? Tell me what y'all like. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if y'all like that. And if you don't know about your thumb emoji, then give me a 1 in the chat for my less sophisticated phone users. You won't have no damn emojis. Damn emojis. Nah, just give me either a thumb up in the chat or give me a 1 in the chat if you like the move. $25 million for 2 years with $17 million in guarantee. That sounds pretty good to me, man. It sounds pretty good to me. All right, shout out to John Hendricks, man, for giving the scoop on Alvin Kamara, because a lot of people talk about Alvin Kamara contract, which is true. But what does that contract potentially? What does it look like? You see, what does that look like? And that's what it potentially could look like. Now, this potential information that came out that I'm correlating the two with, they don't mention contracts. They don't, in terms of how much in dollars and cents. They don't mention. They just said the Saints have a contract on the table, an offer on the table. So eventually, tomorrow or somewhere down the line, we'll get the numbers. They got insiders everywhere, and we'll get the goddamn numbers. All right, thank you. Julius says, man, I would be fine with that. All right, thank you, Julius. I was trying to save you a little type in there, my brother. All right, big ups to the fam. Slim likes it. Cartel likes it. Brother Byron likes it. Ramon says, solid. Thank you, Ramon. Richard says, good to me. What's up, Greg? Shout out to you. Thumbs up to you. All right. What's up, No Cap? How you doing, bro? Says DA's putting Kendre and Pennon in hot seat, but Mickey ain't putting DA in the hot seat. I thought this was accountability mantra season. LOL. And listen, bro, you're seeing the hypocrisy, aren't you? Yes, there is a lot of hypocrisy. Absolutely. And the chief of the hypocrite tribe is definitely Slick Mickey, man. Slick Mickey is a guy that's known to kind of flim-flam. He's a Slick Mickey. And that's why we call him Slick Mickey. We got love for Slick Mickey, but we also know Slick Mickey will pull one over on you, So I know. You ain't messing with my guy. I know, QD. I didn't tell you. I'm talking here on this. Listen, I'm going to put it together here. I'm going to do this. Look at my shirt. I throw my hands looking forward, my hands like that. And then we set, pull it back, throw it to the side, bring it in, and then throw my hand. Make it look like I know what I'm talking about, and then bring it back, and then lean forward, look at you, and throw a bunch of bullshit at you, and the pancake slide. That's what I call it. Pull it back, then build a fort, come back with it, move it to side, and then say, and just make it look like I'm doing something, like I'm saying something really deep here. You see? All right, shout out to Mickey, man. All right, so anyway, let's keep it moving, man. Let's move on to the next one, man, and talk about this, man. This is the Saints did add some people here, man. Thank you, No Cap. Appreciate you. Yeah, you saying it, bro. All right, what's up, Uncle Deuce? Did you hear about? Yeah, no updates on that, man. I didn't hear anything other than what we already know about the hip, the what you call it, the hip flexor, as it's called, the hip flexor, right? Now we did a report. What was that, family? Saturday, the last show, when we actually opened up. Now I do this from time to time because people listen to, and athletes know. Some people don't know what these injuries are. So always feel free to just pull up a medical journal and put up some information about what a hip flexor is, so we can actually have, because this has been done before, where you can have your own personal timeline on how long a hip flexor will last, but it depends on the severity of the hip flexor. So they're not going to divulge how serious it is until they have to. But I said then, when I looked up the information, it says the timeline is anywhere between 2 weeks to a couple of months. Some reports, and this is from the American Hip Society. It said, I didn't even know that was a thing, but yeah, of course it should be, right? But the American Hip Society, or the American Hip Institute, was saying that it can be anywhere between 2 weeks to 8 months. That's 6 to 8 months. So it's anywhere between, and like I said, it all depends on the severity of it. But in terms of what the Saints look like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Lattimore at all playing in any preseason games, and they'll probably hold him out until regular season. You know what I'm saying? Now you'll see him practicing off to the side if it's good enough, but I don't see them like putting him in a situation where he'd be such and such and all that kind of stuff. I just don't see that. Well, they'll play it up to the best, but it depends on the severity of the hip flexor. So I hadn't heard anything. So if you did, just put it in the chat, man. All right. Shout out, y'all crazy, man. What's up, Lori? Shout out to Lori, man. Good to see you in the chat. Brother Gardner, how you doing, sir? All right. He says the hip flexor is a group of muscles located in front. And here come Dr. Gardner, man. Dr. Gardner. He said the hip flexors are a group of muscles located in front of the upper thigh that connect the lower back. I should have did this more profoundly. The hip flexor is a group of muscles located in front of the upper thigh that connects to the lower back, the pelvis, groin, and thighs. That's the hip flexor, Dr. Gardner. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right, brother Byron says Mickey got to handle himself. Yeah, Mickey's the dude, man. Mickey, what's up, brother Kyle? How you doing, sir? Appreciate you, man. Good work over there, man. I got to give brother Kyle, always giving him a shout out, man. That's the man over there doing great things, man. Appreciate y'all, bro. Good coverage of everything y'all bring, bro. Appreciate you, man. All right, No Cap says Tipton ain't about to Callaway me. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. Yeah. You say y'all see that's the Great Saint Think Tank. The Great Saint Think Tank is not people that you can go for, man. You can't pull the wool maybe one time, but you can't do that shit again. You know what I'm saying? All right. No, not Stanky Nicky. No, it's Slick Mickey. I mean, there is no reports that currently that Mickey Loomis stinks. Okay, I got to keep it real. Nah, I got to keep it real. I got to tell you this. There's no reports out there validating the stink that Mickey stinks. That's false. Now, hold on now, that's goddamn false. Hold on, I draw the line. I can't believe you guys. Thank you, brother Kyle. Thank you. Much love. Oh yeah, it's Slick Mickey, not Stinky Nicky. Oh no, that's terrible. I draw the line right there. I wear speed stick. I tell you something, man, and you guys outrageous. Oh my God. All right, anyway, let's get into this one, man. Let's do this, man. The Saints had 2, waive one and place another. Shout out to my brother Kyle right there, man. He did a good job on reporting this right here. Saints announced the signing of guard Tremaine Atram Jr. and tackle Jesse Davis, and corresponding personnel moves. The club placed tackle Justin Herron on injury reserve, and while they waived former HBCU standout offensive lineman Mark Evans II. Man, I like that kid. They waived him. Oh, man. All right, Tremaine Antrim. I hope I'm saying his name right. Another junior. We got like 5 juniors on his team, right? All right, Antrim, 6'2", 314, was originally selected in the 7th round, 250th overall in the 2020 draft by the Rams. In 4 seasons with the Rams, he played in 31 games with 1 start at right guard in 22. In 23, the Powder Springs, Georgia, rebounded from a season-ending fibula injury in 22, suffered in week 3, and he appeared in 17 contests. It had 1 playoff matchup. Off the field, he was the Rams team nominee for the Walter Payton. Okay, we got a guy from a nominee for the Walter Payton of the Year award. He spent the 24 offseason with the Seahawks. Adrian played in 55 games with 32 starts for Clemson, becoming the Tigers' full-time starter at right tackle. His final 2 seasons, when they compiled a 29-1 record, he was a 2-time all-conference selection at Clemson. Okay, brother Tremaine has some skill there, man. That's a lot of a good accolades right there. All right, Jesse Davis. All right, is the next one. 32, played for the Seahawks, Jets, Dolphins, Vikings, Steel. Damn. Jesse gets around. Before joining the Niners practice squad last season, the 6'6", 309-pound tackle played collegiate football at Idaho and signed an undrafted free agent contract with the Seahawks after the 2015 NFL draft. His teams, as you can see right there, Seahawks, Jets, Dolphins, Vikings, Steelers, 49ers, and you can add the black and gold. So the Saints have 2 veteran offensive linemen added to the team. So there we go, family. There it is. Whoop, there it is. Saints add a couple of more veteran linemen to the team. So that's very interesting, man, to be honest with you, man. It's going to be interesting. All right, anyway, let's keep it moving, man. This is another one for my brother, Kyle T. and John Hendricks. Covering this one here. This is some training camp recap information right here to kind of go at right here. For starters, Saints had several transactions. We talked about those 2. Marshawn Lattimore, hip flexor, and Jeffco elbow were not out there. Xander Horvat was a new absence. Shane Lemieux, ankle, returned to practice. While Kendre Miller, hamstring, Brian Brissy, foot were observers. All right, that's another person to kind of think about, family, when you're talking about people. We got Brian Brissy had that foot issue the other day, the last practice, prior to the last practice. So where we are with that. So like I said, a lot of these injury reports, we're not going to get in-depth injury reports because Dennis Allen is not required to like tell you timelines. If some of our media personnel press him and he gives up some information, he gives it up, that'll be a bonus. But we just be left to wonder exactly what's going on. We just have to pay attention to these guys to see what's going on. Nick Saldiveri left towards the end of practice with a calf injury as he walked gingerly off the field with trainers, which would explain it. And those 2 guys we talked about, those linemen, were signed prior to practice, according to the reports. So Nick Saldiveri, who's an inexperienced offensive guard, now has a calf injury, and he walked off gingerly. So this could be an issue because he was getting first team reps. Then Lucas Patrick moved in there, and the Saints did add another offensive lineman. What's the guy name, man? He came over from the Jaguars that we have. Brewer is the guy name. We had another offensive lineman the Saints signed a couple of days ago. His name was Brewer. Is a big guy, 6'6", that was added to the team. So this is the 3rd vet offensive lineman the Saints have added in terms of depth. And Lucas Patrick now, with Nick Saldiveri out, depending on how long he be out, he'll have an opportunity to perhaps he'll get first team reps there. So we'll see how severe that injury is. So Juwan Johnson is doing more each day, it seems, as he was jogging off today to the sideline, in addition to catching more passes after practice. Passenger was around again, but just doing walks around the field with a weighted vest. So we, even though they didn't kibosh Passenger being shut down for the whole season, they did. Dennis Allen alluded to this when he dropped this little giblet several months ago, it seems like, right? I think it was like several months ago that he talked about him hurting himself. So he didn't say that he wouldn't participate, but if he did, it would probably be toward the back end of the regular season, something like that. So we'll see how it all goes, man. Marshawn Lattimore, Dennis Allen says not losing any sleep over Lattimore's injuries, but did say it's concerning. He used missing, quote, a little time, end quote, in the presser. For what it's worth, Allen said he hopes he gets his rehab done and is out here sooner rather than later. And like I'll talk about that once again. You talk about hip flexors, and like Dr. Gardner had astutely made mention of the hip flexor. We talk about the hip flexor timeline, like rehab. Let me do this again for some of the family members that didn't see the show the last time around. Let me see if I can pull up the, let me see. Hip flexor time. Recovery time, yeah. All right, so anyway, And like I said, let me share this screen with you guys, because this is what it basically came up with. And it just taking this information from the American Hip Institute. The time it takes for a hip flexor to heal depends on the severity of the injury. Minor injuries typically take 1 to 3 weeks to heal with rest and treatment. More severe injuries can take 4 to 6 weeks or longer to heal, especially if left untreated. Severe tears can take up to 8 weeks to heal. So that's 2 months right there. So we got a timeline between a week to 8 weeks. And this information, like I said, if you want to give me the source for this information, is from the American Hip Institute. So there you go. There you go. So you can't get more medical than that, right? The American Hip Institute. There you go. Where they be working them hips out, baby. Let me tell you something. All right, so let's get back. And that's just a little timeline there, just to give you an idea. Chase Young, this was the first time we saw Chase Young working the team in drills. He did not disappoint. I've seen some footage of Chase Young come. Chase Young is looking good out there. You know, he don't even look like he was hurt at all. He only took 3 reps, but were very noticeable. Young was cleared by the doctors on August 22nd, and he accelerated his timeline. Allen also said Young's got a little too close to the quarterbacks for him on the first play with a bull rush. More on Young's reps later. Yeah, if they got a red vest on, you can't touch him, Chase. Yeah, he ready to go. All right, starting look. Saints haven't had many changes to the offensive line that we haven't reported, but Selvaderi going out and being taken out of the action, particularly Lucas Patrick, will be at left guard. The second groupings of offensive linemen included Ali Udo, who the team kind of sees as a James Hurst type. They actually said that. Nick Selvaderi, Lucas Patrick, Kyle Hergel, and Landon Young. Subs with the first team offensive walkthroughs included Mims, A.T. Perry, Cedric Wilson Jr., Equimius St. Brown, in addition to Patrick and Young. Defensively, the Saints started in the base again, but quickly shifted to the nickel. There were no major changes, but we did see Will Harris in for Tyrann Mathieu for the first team reps during team. Kool-Aid McKinstry shifted outside, and Alante Taylor went to the slot and in the nickel. Subs during walkthroughs included Jalen Ford, Shamar John Charles, Roderick Teamer, JT Gray, Chase Young, Christian Boyd, and Peyton Turner. Kendall Vickers, the defensive tackle, worked alongside Boyd for the second team, and Young got second team reps. Good to see that, right? So you see, these are some of the numbers here that happened. The QB performance: Derek Carr 5 of 7, Jake Haener was 2 for 3, Spencer 2 for 3. You see Nate Peterman 1 of 1, and then they give you a little information. Carr hit all 3 passes to start, but the first 2 plays were both running plays. AK-41 got inside run to start, and that was stopped by Pete Werner. Then Taysom Hill got a toss out to the right that Warner and Jonathan Abram were in a spot to stop. Kamara got out of bounds. Carr had a nice hook up to Foster Monroe on the third play for an immediate gain that was followed up by Kamara's pass short left off with the play action and Carl Granderson pressure. We got a little waggle action on the next play where Carr connected with Rashid Shaheed over the middle for a nice gain. Haener's first rep saw a deep pass intended for Mason Tipton, who'd been really balling out. The ball hung up in the air a little, and honestly, Will Harris would have probably drawn the pass interference call on the play. At least the entire Saints offense seemed to think so. Taysom Hill got an inside zone run on the next play that was stopped by Kendall Vickers and Christian Boyd, and the final play was a toss right to Jordan Mims, who cut inside and was met by Nico Lalos and Vickers. Anthony Orji was in the backfield on the play as well. Rattlers, lone pass came on the first play action as he tried to hit A.T. Perry deep down the left sideline, working against Rajon Wright and Rod Teamer in that area, but it wasn't close. He handed off to James Robinson on the next play for a short gain to the left side, primarily due to a Roderick Teamer stick hit, and finishing up the drive, hitting Jasper Horsted for a short gain on the pretty sweet looking fake toss to the right side. Nate Peterman came in for a lone snap, which was a toss right to Jacob Caboti, and Peyton Turner and Kool-Aid McKinstry had to stop. All right, so you see a few things right there. In the series 2, Carr's final series saw him connect with how about an Adam Prentice sighting out there in the flat to start. Nothing was there down the field. He tried Taysom Hill on an intermediate route to the left, but Alante Taylor had the coverage there to negate the completion. On the play, Fuaga did a really nice job picking up Will Harris. The next play was a run inside with Jamal Williams. Big Nate Shepard was there for the contact. Williamson kept going. That's when we had our first scuffle on camp between Taylor and Cedric Wilson Jr., who Dennis Allen said upon the first glance Taylor took exception to the additional blocking. It calmed down rather quickly. So they got cooler heads prevailed. Jake Hayner's first rep was overshadowed by Chase Young, absolutely obliterating Landon Young, rushing from the right side. That's the rep Allen said he got a little too close on. Peyton Turner got the sack on the play, but it was allowed to play out, and Hayner had a nice connection to Dalen Hawker down the left sideline for the intermediate gain. The next snap didn't happen due to a rehuddle, but when it did play out, the other big play to Mason Tipton, Hayner found him deep down the left side for a 29-yard pickup as Tipton beat Rajon Wright. The final play was a middle run with James Robinson that was stopped by Kaliki Hudson, the linebacker. Rattler didn't attempt to pass until the third rep, and things didn't start too well after he had to keep her up the middle with the shotgun. Monty Rice was there for pressure and would have been a sack. Jacob Kabadi had an excellent run on the next play where he went from going inside to bouncing to the outside left, completely make Isaiah Foskey miss. So Isaiah Foskey, the snowman, melted on the play. Rattler's long pass was a hookup to the right sideline to Jermaine Jackson on kick. Don't take it personal. Who got popped by Mac McCain, and Isaiah Stallbird ended up recovering the fumble. Peterson's final rep was a short hookup to Stanley Morgan Jr. near the left sideline, and there was a final play of the team, and Chase Young was in. Young also had another rep where he worked out with newly acquired lineman Jesse Davis. All right, so that's a few things there. And then you look on some of the one-on-one results they talk about. Was pretty good with Chris Olave, 3 for 3, won a cornerback route against Paulson Adebo. They had some good battles going on there. Jermaine Jackson won his. 1 or 2. Mason Tipton did pretty good. Arguably had the play of the day, getting a touchdown deep left, working against Rico Payton. I seen that highlight there. Matter of fact, I think I have that highline geared up. Hold on. I think I had the one where Mason Tipton beat Rico Payton. And if Rico Payton keep letting people do this to him, then Rico Payton ain't going to be on this team for very long. But that is right here. That's Mason Tipton, number 84, just running right past him. He tried to grab him. If Rico Payton keeps doing that, Rico is going to be up out of here. Let me tell you something. You can't let guys smoke you like a ham, dog. Look at this. He wasn't even close. All right, anyway, and this is another one right here. Kool-Aid McKinstry versus Rashid Shaheed right here. And you can see McKinstry, that Kool-Aid right there. And boom, boom, boom. And Rashid made the catch. Now, at the end of the play, I thought he dropped it, but Rashid Shaheed recovered and caught this ball, man. I was like, look at this. He breaks out. Look at that speed. Get a little separation, not much, and watch the catch. Boom, boom, boom. And looked like he caught it. I don't know. It looks like he caught the ball because he dived. And I think, no, he didn't. I think it was incomplete because I can't tell. Looked like it touched the ground right there. Looked like it's on the ground right there. Yeah, it's on the ground. He didn't catch it. So that was Kool-Aid McKinstry defending Rashid Shaheed. And that's not easy to do. I'm going to be keeping a $150 with you, man. That ain't. So anyway, the lone miss was a deep left throw towards the end zone, working against Kool-Aid McKinstry via Rattler. Shaheed later won a rep against McKinstry on the slant for Hayner. All right, so it looked like it was a miss to me. All right, so anyway, but it's been pretty good out there, man. And a little lanyard that they're going to bless us with on the article. Blake Grupe missed his first kicks of training camp. He's now 21-23. On the day, Allen said Mason Tipton reminds him of Chris Harris Jr. in regard to how he performed at camp at the undrafted free agent during his time with the Broncos. He mentioned that he's someone no one knew at the time and kept making plays. Well, Mason Tipton, I've been knowing about Mason Tipton during the season. And that was somebody, remember when we did the prospect breakdowns like we do every year, Mason Tipton was a guy that I told y'all about. Even during the draft, I was saying, listen, fam, this dude from Yale I'm trying to put y'all on game about. Put one in the chat if y'all remember that. I was like, his name is Tipton. He ain't got all the size, but the dude runs good routes. He catch everything you throw to him. He come from Yale. He did a lot of fantastic things at Yale. Yale is not known to be, all that. They're known as being a smart people, school, smart people, stuff like that. But at the same time, when you watch Mason Tipton's game, he was a guy that made plays, and that's hard to miss. So I knew he would be a guy that the Saints would like. And I was like, when they picked him up as an undrafted guy, I was like, yes, y'all guys doing it. Y'all doing it well, man. Y'all doing it well. All right. So anyway, team owner Gail Benson, the ambassador, was out at practice in the morning. All right. She didn't stay very long. Looked like she was out there. You know how there's she was out there checking it out. All right. Honed in on offensive day, the drills. The quarterbacks will run from shotgun and handoff while immediately getting the toss ball from Andrew Janoko and had to position themselves to make a throw. They later did this while doing a play action roll and having to throw on the run. See, this is what we're talking about, getting them used to all of these different situations. Derek Foster was our running back coach, where he working on the wheel routes, running with resistance bands, and then also did interesting drill where he had a helmet on the stick and would simulate a low tackle by the defender. So that's interesting. The back would stiff arm and push the helmet down. Rick Dennison worked it worked exclusively with Adam Prentice. So what's going on with Rick Dennison working with Prentice? Offensive tackles and tight ends were working on being in sync with their blocking. Pinning looked comfortable. He said the same that practice more than previous years, and even for the spring, John Benton worked with the offensive tackles and Jari Evans with the interior guys. Derek Carr was coaching up and giving some attaboys to some of the wide receivers. Lou Headley doing his thing. This is not an exhaustive list, but Gunners, Jammers working today. Mac McCain, Jordan Mims, Cedric Wilson, Equimia St. Brown, Rico Payton, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Shamar Jean Charles, Jordan Howden, Roderick Tima, Rajon Wright, Stanley Morgan Jr., Bub Means, and JT Gray. And then the kickoff team worked on inside middle lane with 2 defenders and attackers that would translate direction to turn upfield after staying with them. So this is some of the stuff right here. And we appreciate the Saints Names, the News Network, for keeping us abreast on all the latest from Saints camp, baby. All right, so anyway, let's move on, man, to the portion of the show where we about to get into doing the reactions and whatnot from listening to Dennis Allen and the Saints at camp today. If you didn't have the opportunity to listen to what the Saints had to say, now you get your opportunity to listen, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so anyway, big ups to y'all. Appreciate y'all being here. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. Shout out to Who That Black Major. Who That to you, sir. Appreciate you. Brother DeWright. Shout out to you. Good to see you. Richard says Chase Young and the rookies give me some hope that the additions were small but impactful. Oh, and I almost forgot Gay. Yes, indeed. That's the big part, man. Their gambles, like especially Chase Young. If Chase Young is healthy, that's what I was saying when the Saints grabbed at him. And I was like, man, if Chase Young is healthy and you pair Chase Young with Carl Granderson, and not the same Carl Granderson from last year, but remember what Carl Granderson said. Carl Granderson said that toward the back of last year, he ran out of juice, right? He admitted that when he had his presser, and I think that was in the OTAs. He talked about that he was working on that, building up his win for later on in the year. He kind of wore down. That's what happened to him last year. Because you can see he was firing off doing this thing, and then he kind of disappeared, teeter off toward last year. So as we look at Carl Granderson is DE number 1. He's DE 1, right? And Chase is his guy, like his DE 2. So if that, and Cam's off the bench. So if you have Chase Young and Carl Granderson, those are guys that can not only get around the edge, but those guys are guys that play to run well. So if they're healthy, that provides the Saints with 2 very gifted, balanced defensive ends that are able to not only pressure the quarterback around the tackles, but they also are guys that play to run well. So if you have a quarterback that is, like I said this before, it's a quarterback. This is the answer. The Saints could have solved the Achilles type situation we had. You know, we had that Achilles heel of not being able to stop mobile quarterbacks. Mobile quarterbacks would tear the Saints up. Even it's 2 things that we had issues with outside of stopping the run at times in the year, right? Number 1 was the mobile quarterback threat. Saints didn't have an answer for that. To this year, they do. Chase Young, Carl Granderson from outside, creating pressure. If they try to run, those guys can kind of stay around that and make sure they don't escape out to the left or right. And then there's also Willie Gay. Willie Gay is the linebacker with the speed, the height, the physicality that can be able to play next to DeMario Davis. Now, Pete Werner is awesome, but he just doesn't have the athletic gifts that we need our linebacker to play with. And the second thing, when we talk about Willie Gay having the speed component to also help out with the mobile QB threat, you have Willie Gay who can cover the tight ends, which was the second issue the Saints had. If you had an athletic, gifted tight end, you got killed. the Saints defense would get murked. They get murked by people that had really good tight ends. You know, you got killed by the Hawkinson. You got killed by LaFondra. Well, I keep forgetting that man name. Good Lord, I'm gonna remember his name. But the tight end, that's the really good tight end from Detroit. You got Hawkinson there, and any good tight end outside of Kyle Pitts from Atlanta, any really good tight end would give the Saints issues. That shouldn't be the case this year as bad as what it was in past years, because you have a guy like Willie Gay that can cover the tight end. And then we seen in camp the Saints operate the 4-3 defense, and they was using the 4-3. Guess what? You can use the 4-3 if you have a linebacker that's fast enough to cover tight end. So the Saints 4-3 defense, you might see it more. Remember, they've been practicing the 43, where you see 3 linebackers out there. That could be something interesting. You have Willie Gay there, such and such, right? And you got him, he can be able to cover the tight end. Man, that's a different look that we haven't seen before. Where the Saints can use the 43, they love the modified nickel, but it does give them some versatility if they need to do that, right? So yeah, those two guys will be phenomenal. Like Willie Gay and Chase Young healthy along with Carl Granderson, that creates a lot of speed that the Saints have on edge to put pressure on the quarterback, and then also to protect those sides from quarterback scrambles, whatever, and then you can stunt them guys if you need them. And then you have Willie Gay back there who's covering tight ends, or if he can get to that running back shooting off to the side there, he can be able to get around there. And then maybe you can got one where you can shoot him up the center, get to the quarterback on a linebacker blitz. You could do a number of things with a guy that's good as him. So we want to play his press conference too as well. So shout out to the fan. What's up, Pammy? Good to see you in here. Much love. All right. Yeah, we need that, man. We need a speed component next to DeMario Davis. Laporta, there you go. I don't know why I call that man LaCondra. What's wrong with me? All right. Duke said he's talented, great work ethic, and he competes. He doesn't give up routes, and great in coverage. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. What's up, Brother Charles? How you doing, sir? He said, when would be the time we put Cam at defensive tackle? Probably in that could we see a revised version of the NASCAR package? Huh? I think we'll see that. We should see some of that NASCAR package this year, don't you think? Carl, to see Cam and Cam slide inside. Then you have Bink Saunders, and then you have Carl Granderson, and you got Chase Young. You could see that NASCAR package, man, happen sometimes coming up in the year, man. This upcoming year. Like I said, we'll see how it goes. All right, Hemisphere says, hey, Q, how many linebackers started for the Saints that came out of the draft since 2000? I don't know, bro. I'm going to have to do some research on that one. That came out of the draft since 2000? Man, that's a long time, brother. That's like what? That's 14 years worth of linebackers. That requires a lot of homework, brother. I do not immediately have the answers. If somebody can answer that question, please feel free. That's a lot of time to go over, man. That came out of the draft that started. It is, yeah, that's the question that came out of the draft that started since 2000. You obviously got the answer for that, Hemisphere. Put it in the chat, brother, because I know you. That's a very specific question that you obviously have the answer for. No doubt about it. What's up, Tasha? Now, Q, you know. Who, me? Not me. No, I'll be butchering the hell out of people's names. I'm sorry.
Pads. Look, we'll go back and we'll look at the tape. I mean, there were some things that I thought there was a couple of pretty good runs that I saw in there. Again, we'll have to see the tape and see exactly, what they would have looked like in a real life situation. But there were some good things that I saw today. Again, I saw the ball go down the field a couple of times, some explosive plays. Got another punch out on defense. So there's some things that, both sides of the ball are doing really well. I think the biggest thing is that, our guys are competing. And, when you get talented players and they're willing to work and compete, they really don't have a choice but to get better. So we got a long way to go, but I like the direction that we're headed right now.
Yeah, did you see what happened between Alante and Cedric Wilson?
I did not. My assumption is that, Cedric was probably blocking Alante and he didn't like being blocked. That would be my assumption on that particular play. It was a running play. and said, came on a fast motion. Alante was tracking him back across. So that would be my assumption that's what happened. And, that would be fairly standard for, a padded practice and training camp. And yet, we have to understand that those aren't things that you can do in a real life game. So we've got to be able to kind of manage those and get those under control a little bit.
How do you say it's one of your favorite days?
Yeah. I mean, it's the first time since January that we've had an opportunity to play real football, or simulate real football. And so I always enjoy putting the pads on, and then, the big thing is you're trying to find out who likes the noise, and really who doesn't like the noise. And this is a tough physical game played by tough physical people, and you have to be willing to stick your nose in there and create a little contact, absorb a little contact, and be able to make plays within that. I thought Shaheed made a really nice play today on a contested catch across the middle. I think that's something that we have to be able to do. We have to be able to catch the ball in the middle of the field and know that, we're going to have to absorb some contact in that situation. And 99 out of 100 times, you're going to get hit, so you might as well catch the ball and finish the play. So, but yeah, I do enjoy this part of the game.
How much could you gauge, I guess, offensive line and
All right. Shout out to the fam, man. Y'all hit the like button. Appreciate y'all sharing y'all valuable time here. Cartel, right quick. He says, can you see Alante Taylor as our next starting safety? I mean, actually, that you could, if you think about it, because remember when the Saints drafted Alante Taylor, he was brung here to replace Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Remember? And when they drafted him, then that created the whole thing. Chauncey was cutting up in the locker room. He left, then came back later on and was playing half the practice. And while that was going on, he was not happy about the Saints not giving him his contract. But Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Eric McCoy at the same time were under the same situation, right? They were in the same boat. McCoy was quiet about it. He ultimately ended up getting paid. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got traded for peanuts, in my opinion, from the Saints. They basically got rid of him for next to nothing. But he was drafted when he had the ability to play corner as well, play cornerback as well as safety. And that's what at the time when they were talking about Alante Taylor, they were bragging about his versatility to play corner as well as play safety. So could there be a situation where you could see down the line where the Saints might say, okay, we might need another safety if Tyrann Mathieu leaves or something happened to Tyrann Mathieu and they have to kind of rework things? I could see that. I could see a situation where if the Saints were in a pinch and they needed Alante Taylor to be there, that they would use him there because that was the plan originally, right? That's why they liked him. All right, but thank you, that bro. Appreciate that as well, man. Big ups to you guys. Yeah, we need for the family members out there, listen to Dennis Allen. Now look, we need a look counter, so y'all make sure y'all put it in the chat. Somebody keep a count of how many times Dennis Allen says now look. Okay. All right. Will says Cam, Brissy, Granderson, and Young would be a great Giants NASCAR package. 3rd and 9, I think. Thank you. I appreciate you, Will. All right, brother Eric says, I hate how commentators media talk about AK. He had a bad year and his numbers were down, but never mention our O-line sucks. Last time I checked, they work hand in hand. Pay AK. Bro, listen. Bro, we cover that and we mentioned that as well. Alvin mentioned that and that's the thing. Like, one affects the other, even though, if you don't, Alvin had like 600 yards rushing last year. So the Saints are looking at it and saying, well, hold on now. See, let's see here. According to the stat sheet right here, Alvin, you had 600 something yards and 4 touchdowns last year. And you're looking for $30 million or 27. Oh my God. No. Oh my Lord. No, we're not going to do that. But it's the craziest thing because this year and last year, we knew the offensive line was up and down. It was shaky. But Alvin Kamara, he's the best offensive player you have. He's a guy that can do it all. You can split him out. He has a wide receiver. He'll catch the ball like your best wide receiver. He's your best running back. He's very gifted. You can move him all around. You can do a lot of stuff with Alvin Kamara. He's a playmaker, a game changer. You have to compensate those guys. And he's not old. That's the thing. It's like everybody's been programmed to think as he gets, well, the value on those guys, you got to remember when you get up to your late 30s, your money's going to fall off the table. That's not exactly true. You know, it's an exception to every rule. You know, and Alvin, like I said, Alvin and guys like Christian McCaffrey, those are exception backs. Those guys, you don't treat them like an average NFL running back because they're not. You know, in like this, Alvin's so well conditioned that Alvin Kamara should never leave the field. And I'm saying you don't go to him on every play, but he's out there as a decoy to make life easier for other players who are also out there. That's very good. That's going to be game changers. Rashid Shaheed has world-class speed. Chris Olave is phenomenal. Taysom Hill is damn near unstoppable. You know, it's just ridiculous. But you have those guys out there with Alvin Kamara, and if you moving Kamara off and splitting them out, and they looking at him like, what is Kamara doing out there, split out there? Y'all keep an eye on him, something going on. Then you can have other players out there in the backfield. You can have another running back. You have Taysom back there. It's different things you can do, and it all depends on the imagination of the offense. But you're absolutely right. A lot of people don't talk about it like that, Eric, because they don't have that insight. But I got to give credit to the great Saint think tank and myself, because that's one of the things I brought up. And also shout out to the Saints News Network, John Hendricks. He put that in his article when he talked about the correlation between Kamara's stat and the fact that the offensive line stunk for a lot last year and the prior year. But that's the thing. Like, they based it on stats. But that works for the team. Now, it might not seem intelligent, but that works in Mickey Loomis' favor. Like I said, Mickey's not dumb. Mickey's slick. That's right. I'll slick your ass. He's slick. He's going to use every advantage or whatever statistic that he can use to drive the money down. It's just a smart move by him representing the Saints pocketbook. His thing is to see if he can save as much money as he possibly can for the team, especially with they're in this economic situation that he created. Mickey created this cap situation where we in salary cap hell for the next couple of years. He the one that put that money up there for Derek Carr's expensive contract with the Saints couldn't really afford. He did that. You know, he did that and went out there. And Dennis said, "Can we get a Mickey?" Only thing Mickey had to tell Dennis, "Well, hey man, we can't afford that dude. What else you got?" Well, Dennis said, "All right, well, you know, I hear you. It went a different route, but it all was based on Mickey Loomis giving it the thumbs up, green stamping it." But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. They got people that's really in tune with it, man. That's what the great Saint think tank is all about, bro. That's that next level thinking, right? That's really good. Appreciate that commentary, bro. Shout out. All right. Duke says he says maybe ask him. Oh, you talking about Simmons? Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, I said that. Simmons ain't gonna play for cheap. You know, I kept saying that dude likes money. The Saints they're gonna go El Cheapo on the DBO. That's the bottom line. Pam says, Q, Mickey needs to be knocking behind the podium, scared as hell since Kendrick got hurt. I think he'll be all right because they did a phenomenal job in adding veteran running backs that are not big name running backs. I said this the last show. Jordan Mims is a good backup running back. He has speed. He has good vision. He's not a starter. He's, if you got injuries, maybe a part-time starter, not a full-time starter, but Jordan Mims has skill. He really does. He has good speed. He can run inside, outside. He can catch the ball like a wide receiver. That was a good pickup by the Saints. When they signed him, I was like, man, that's a solid running back pickup. And then James Robinson is another running back the Saints picked up. These are young veterans, but they do have good skill. Robinson has good speed. He got a little power to him. He can also catch the ball out the backfield. So if Kendre Miller is hung up on this hamstring issue, the Saints have a good running back room like Jordan Mims, who people been talking about how good he's been doing in camp. And then you still have James Robinson, who made some plays today. So like I said, they have some people, a lot of people just don't know about them, They just, that's what it is. We just got to do your homework on. Duke says Q exactly game changer. Yeah, and that's what we covered early in the show, that they put a contract on the table. We don't know exactly what it is, but it is a start, right? And like I said, people like talk about Mickey. Mickey's not dumb. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Like I pick at Mickey a little bit because he says stupid stuff every now and again. He says elitist stuff like people not qualified. I mean, who the hell are you to say that? You're just a GM of a football team. Oh, stop saying some elite. You're an employee. Don't be so elitist sounding. But saying outrageous stuff every now and then, comparing Dennis Allen to Bill Belichick and all these other guys, he was off his meds that day, obviously. But the reality is he's going to use the poor stats, even though that's not Alvin Kamara's fault, because you need the offensive line to block, to open up stuff so he can have better stats so he can make better money or make more money. That's not all on his fault. But Mickey's going to use that to drive the start here, right? And if Kamara wants it up here, Mickey starts right here based on, according to the stats here, you got 600 yards and 4 touchdowns or fine, whatever it was. And he starts here, and that's according to the NFL. That makes you at the bottom of the level. How am I supposed to, that kind of stuff. So it's not him being stupid. It's the fact that you're going to use every advantage to lowball Kamara. And then if, you got to work from here up here. And Kamara got to some kind of way get him to come up here. But if Kamara's here and Mickey starts here, it's a shorter truth. So it's a whole little movement here, a little game of chess right here for the Saints to get right here to wherever Kamara is. Perhaps they can get Kamara to come here, you see? And they can save a few dollars because that's the thing. Mickey Loomis don't care about spending no money. But now with all of the stuff that didn't happen, how you done put the Saints in a tailspin over the last several years with the kicking of the cap and the greasy thumb Jake Gusick moves that he was doing, then, it is what it is. So I can see both sides. That's why I see how Mickey operating. Mickey not stupid. He just doing what he do.
In general, and maybe Trevor in specific, I know you said you saw some runs you like. How much can you gauge off today?
Well, it'd probably be easier for me to look at the tape first before, kind of coming back and saying, something and then having to, change my opinion once I see the tape. Look, I did think from standing behind, I thought there was a few plays where I felt like, the runner was getting into the second level of the defense on a couple of these plays prior to having to deal with any sort of contact. And so that generally means that the runner is taking the right track, all right, and B, that the offensive line is getting on the right people and creating a little bit of movement.
What was your impression of how Chase Young looked in that?
I think he got 3 plays, and the first one kind of bull rushed back in there and, got a little bit too close to the quarterback for me. But that was, that catches your eye when a guy's able to, walk the offensive tackle back into the quarterback. I think that's something that he can do. And so, I thought I liked what I saw in those 3 plays. I think all 3 of them by design were pass rush plays. And I think we'll see, gradually a little bit more, out of Chase as we go into practice. This was all kind of part of the plan, to kind of working back in. And so we got him a couple of pass rushes in a team environment, which I thought that was good for him, both physically and mentally, I think, to be back out there.
We can obviously see that Mason Tipton can get it deep. Is he a guy that can run every route, though? Is he polished? I
think we'll have to see. I think he's got the skill set. He's a smaller player, but he's got some real good quickness and he's a savvy route runner. He's got some football awareness. And so I think he understands kind of how to play the position. He's got really explosive speed down the field. So I think as we go throughout training camp, we'll have to see, what are all those things that he can do. I think he's proven that he can run deep. And now we'll have to see how does he execute in some of the underneath stuff, and can we get the ball in his hands quickly? Can he get some run after catch? Those types of things. But I was telling someone the other day that he reminds me a little bit of, on the defensive side of the ball, I had Chris Harris in Denver 2011. We had the lockout, and nobody knew who Chris Harris was. He was an undrafted free agent out of Kansas, but every day he showed up out there. He worked his tail off, competed at the highest level, and every day he did something to catch your eye. and next thing you know, you're 2 or 3 weeks into training camp, and he's done something to deserve an opportunity to get more opportunities. And so I think I like some of the things that I'm seeing out of him.
Dennis, would you say that Willie Gay has been just in a little bit of time here?
That'd be interesting to see exactly what Mason Tipton falls there, right? Because we know who our wide receivers are, right? Most of them are who going to make the team. Now, it depends on how many the Saints have. If it's 5, maybe 6, I could see 5, perhaps. We know Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, A.T. Perry, Cedric Wilson Jr., I think, makes it. That's 4 guys. If it's 5, that kind of puts Equimia St. Brown, probably on the practice squad, if not released. Bub Means is another guy we think Bub Means stays. If that's 5, do the Saints keep 6 of them? But it makes it kind of difficult when you're pressing, because Mason Tipton would have to also play special teams. Like if you have wide receivers that's outside the top 3 guys, the remaining wide receivers ultimately have to play special teams in some capacity. So, that might be something we need to look at about Mason Tipton making plays, because we've seen something similar to this happen before, haven't we? We've seen, what was his name, who was on the team before, and he was balling. He was the wide receiver. I can't think about his name right now. I can't think of his name. Oh, my goodness. I could see his face. I just can't think of the man's name. This was a couple of years ago. He was a wide receiver, was catching everything. He was a wide receiver, then they turned him into a running back. Y'all know who I'm talking about? Put him in the chat, man. I don't know why I'm not drawing his name. I can see his face. I just can't pull up his name. No, it wasn't Shaq Davis, Slim. It wasn't Shaq Davis. It was, I almost had his name. He was a wide receiver. Then the Saints said, you could play wide receiver pretty good. Let me convert you to a running back. That's the hint. All right. He was a wide receiver. The Saints then try to turn him at a running back, and he was making plays, and then he was balling during the training camp. Just like a couple of years ago. There you go, Kirk Merritt. See, you guys are on it, man. Y'all are on it. Shout out to you guys. There you got Kirk Merritt. There you go. I was seeing his face, but I was saying to myself, man, listen, what's the brother name? When I gave y'all the clue, I was like, he was a wide receiver. They was trying to use at the running back. Kirk Merritt. That's who it was. But the thing is, he was doing everything. He was doing it all. And then he didn't make the team, did he? He did not make the team. Who made the team? Wasn't it Kevin White that made the team? Who made the team over him? Y'all answer that question. Great Saint Think Tank. What's up, 9? What's up, brother? 985J in the building. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. How you doing? All right, Tedra says, Q, who you think will win the 3rd to 4th? I don't know, bro. I didn't even see your question. That just popped up in my head, bro. I'm sorry. I didn't even realize it. All right. Yeah, Tedra, I'm talking about that now. I don't know who wins it. Like, if that's the case, like, because we've seen this happen before. I think it was Kevin White was the guy that the Saints put in there over Kirk Merritt. Yes. Yeah. See, Cartel says, unfortunately, it was. See, so that's the thing. Like, every training camp, this happens every year. The last couple of years under Dennis Allen, is that there are always 2 curious keepers for the Saints. Like the last couple of years, guys will outplay guys. It happened with Kirk Merritt. He outplayed Kevin White, and Dennis Allen still kept. I think it was Dennis Allen. Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton was 1 year. Did it. And I think Dennis White did it. I mean, Dennis Allen did it. Kept keeping White around. I know Sean Payton kept doing it. I'm like, why is he keeping this dude? This dude is not good. And Kirk Merritt was balling. Dennis Allen did it with Smith. Y'all remember the linebacker, Preston Smith, who was with the Saints. The Saints got Smith from the Vikings. I think he picked him up from the Vikings and came on to the team. And he was an absolute fit. He was awesome. He had this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed Cam energy type, Cam Jordan type energy. Cam eyes bucket, and he's like, I'm thinking this, I'm doing it. Yeah. So we did that. That happened. Yeah, we thinking about doing this and doing that. And Cam has this energy about him, like during the pressers, where his eyes wide open. You don't never see a Cam like somber, like we're going to do this something. Very rarely. It's always a Cam like somebody took Cam's see finger and stuck it in a light socket, and he, and then he go like this, and Cam is just a ball of energy. That's what Preston Smith was like. He was like a shorter, smaller version of Cam. He had the same bright-eyed, bushy-tail, finger stuck in the light socket type energy that Cam Jordan has. And the Saints, when it came down to it, he was balling. They had DeMario Davidson in them games, and Preston Smith was like balling next to DeMario. And then when it came down to cut time, Dennis Allen said, okay, Preston Smith, we're going to cut you, and we're going to put Zach Bowen in there. And Zach Bowen didn't play not one lick in there. He looked awful. And he picked Bowen over Preston Smith. And then Preston Smith, luckily, was able to clear waivers. The Saints signed him back. And then down the line, Green Bay signed him off the Saints practice squad. He's been there ever since. So, yeah, it's always a weird a couple of weird keeps that Dennis Allen does every now and then. I'm like, why was that the thing? But it happens. It happened. I'm like, will it happen this year? I don't know.
Here has been the guy you hoped he would be when you went out and got him.
Yeah, I think so. From this standpoint, from a big, physical, athletic linebacker that I know is going to come in and practice hard, work hard, compete, do all of those things. And so now I think the biggest thing for Willie is, man, continuing to get into the playbook and continuing to study and continuing to understand all the things that we're asking him to do. I think he's taken some steps forward from where he was in the spring. I think there's still some steps to be taken there. But I do think that each day he continues to get a little bit more comfortable and play a little bit better. So, I'm pleased with what I've seen, to this point. But now we're only into installs 1 and 2, so we really haven't even gotten into, our third down stuff or 2-minute or red zone or any of that type of stuff too. So, hopefully he'll continue to be on top of everything as the volume of defense picks up a little bit.
And would you say that Pete Werner has had a good start to this camp too?
Yeah, I think Pete's had a really good start to the camp. I think there's going to be some competition at the linebacker spot. Whether that be for linebackers 1, 2, and 3, is it for linebackers 4, 5, and 6? I think that's a room that's got some guys that have some ability, and now they just got to be able to come out here and show it on a consistent basis.
How quickly is he grasping his role? He's took out some of it to learn. So far, what you see, is he grasping the concepts quickly?
Well, I think he's improved a lot in training camp from where he was in the spring. So obviously he spent some time over the summer, studying the playbook and trying to make sure that he was on point with everything. He's still got a ways to go in terms of that. And I know he's working extremely hard at it. And then, look, at some point that becomes our responsibility to make sure we're putting him in the positions to do the things that he can do really well, and trying to minimize or limit the times that we do things with him that maybe he's not really in his wheelhouse.
Dennis, how would you kind of describe the process you all take marrying the run game with the play action game, and kind of make it all look similar?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know that, you really talk about what's the process. I mean, this process started years and years and years and years ago, in terms of what the offense looks. The foundation of this scheme, has been around, for a long time. I think, as Clint's been around, he's taken bits and pieces from, what he knows that Rico and John Benton have done and understand, and what his dad did, and what Kyle Shanahan did. He's kind of taken bits and pieces of that and kind of morphed that into, our own, flavor of this offense. But I think, the biggest thing is we're trying to give a multitude of looks with a few core plays that we can run over and over, and just change the looks up for the defense. So it's simple for us offensively, and yet it's complicated for the defense. And so how do we make this run concept and this play action pass look the same? And then what window dressing, can we put on it to cause conflict in the defense?
Yeah, with Chase, just in terms of his timeline, was this always a target in terms of potentially getting him back in the team? Or is that
I think once we he met with the doctors when we got here on the 22nd, and he was cleared by the doctor for full participation. So I think at that point we probably accelerated this timeline just a little bit from where we probably initially thought it would be or potentially could be. So I like where he's at right now. We're going to continue to be smart with him, but I think each day you'll see him ramp up a little bit more and more every day.
Is that a credit to how he attacked his rehab?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a credit to, Dr. Watkins and the surgery that he did. I think it's a credit to our training staff and the work that they've done with him. I think it's a credit to him and he did everything that our training staff asked him to do, to a T. And then I think it's credit to the good Lord, it's credit to his mom and dad, because they're the one that gave him the healing genes, so probably a lot of credit to go around, it sounds like. So, but he worked extremely hard at it, and man, I'm excited about seeing what he can do.
We saw a sound of Marion leave early. Do you have any updates?
Calf.
Yeah. It seems like every day there's guys out here continuing to work after practice. What does that say about the buy-in?
Yeah, look, everything that I've seen and heard has been positive in terms of the buy-in of this football team to what we're trying to do, and I think this team's excited about going out and playing this season. And so now, look, we're practice number 5. You know what I mean? And so, but look, this game that we play is a tough game, and everybody has the same goal at the end of the season. Everybody wants to win a championship, and yet the reality is there's only one team that's going to do it. And I said this the other day. I mean, I don't know exactly what it's going to take, but it's going to take whatever it takes. And so that means you might have to put in a little extra effort and a little extra work post-practice. You might have to spend a little bit more time in the film room. We might have to spend a little bit more time taking care of our bodies and recovery and things of that nature. So I think the guys have taken to that and they understand it. Because again, there's no shortcut to success in our league, and it takes a lot of hard work. And everybody says they want to win, and everybody says they want to win at the highest level. But is everybody really willing to do what it takes to do that? And it's not easy. And so that's what I've tried to impress upon our guys, is that you have a job to do, and whatever that job is, you have to be able to get that job done. And so whatever work you have to put in to be able to accomplish that, then that's what you have to do.
What have you seen from Paulson and Debo so far?
I think he's picked up, really where he left off. I think he's been really sticky in coverage. I think he's been, competitive at the catch point. There's been a couple of plays that have been made on him on crossing routes, but he's been right there in position. And I think if you put yourself in a competitive position, time in and time out, that eventually, those plays come your way. And so, I think he's playing at a high level right now.
Has he kind of elevated himself to one of the premier corners of this league, or do you think that's something maybe he can improve this season?
Yeah, look, I think, I think that's still something that he's trying to prove. I can't speak for all the other corners in our league. I can't speak for what anybody else feels about, the corners in our league. I can tell you that I'm glad that we have him. And I can tell you that we rely on him and his ability to cover. And I have zero challenges putting him in a coverage situation against whoever you want to line up against him. And so it's a comforting feeling for me as a head coach and a defensive play caller.
Dennis, because of Marshawn's injuries to the last couple years, how concerned are you with what he's dealing with right now? Or are you happy that it happened early in camp?
Well, look, I think anytime guys, have injuries and miss significant time, and then all of a sudden, you get to training camp and, they're dealing with something else that's going to cause them to, miss some time. It's concerning, and yet it's not. I'm not losing a lot of sleep over it right now. I think the good news for us is I do think that we have some good players at the corner position that can pick up the slack when he's unavailable, and I think our guys have been able to do that over the last couple of years. And so, certainly, I want him to get healthy. I want him back out here. I think he's a big part of what we do defensively when we're at our best. He's playing, at a high level, and so, hopefully he'll be able to get his rehab done and get back out here sooner rather than later.
When it comes to prospects who maybe didn't grow up playing primarily American football or maybe didn't grow up in the United States, and scouting, considering them seriously, how much has that changed over your coaching career, now, and how much more of that do you think there'll be?
Well, I don't know. It's a tough question. I mean, I think, you have access to, with all the technology and everything that we have now, we got access to a lot more people and things. I mean, you pick up your phone all the time and, somebody's, got one of these, whatever that's called, Twitter or whatever it is, and they show one of these videos of some rugby player or somebody doing something, So I think there's more information on people. And so it allows you to do a little bit better job of trying to scout those guys. And look, I think, the reality is there's probably, you want to make sure you're turning over every stone, and yet the reality is that, for every one of those guys that makes it, there's probably another, I don't know, 15, 20, 100, whatever the number is that don't pan out, But I think anytime you get a guy that's got, size, speed, athleticism, and they're willing to work, I think, it's kind of worth a shot when you're talking about a 90-man roster. All right, guys, thanks.
Willie Gay?
All right, that's Dennis Allen, man, and we put Willie on in just a second, man. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate y'all being here. But this is the thing, man. Eric says, what's your prediction on the season? I think the Saints, man, I think they got the right personnel. Some people don't say, well, here, Q, man, I don't see what you see. But I do see. I think the biggest problems that happened with the Saints organization, I've been on record saying this over the last couple of years, was the accountability. The Saints were an accountable team. Now, they're still not totally accountable. They're only accountable in certain aspects. Listen, you can't be a guy unless you're a hardcore, serious perfectionist to a degree. Think that Dennis Allen, all of a sudden, who was uncountable in the first couple of years, and then over a off season, all of a sudden just became the accountability deity. You see what I'm saying? It didn't work like that. He did hint on it in various other press conferences early on when he talked about Clint Kubiak, who is very centered, detail-centered, and is very accountable. His staff, Janoku, John Benton, so on and so forth. All those guys, the running back coach, all these guys, wide receivers coach, these guys have a high degree of accountability and attention to detail. That's what makes it better. And when you have that in the areas that you need to have them at, then you'll see a change. And that's what we need to have it at in the offensive side of the building. Now, we need it on the defensive side, but offense, we're not going anywhere if we can't move the ball. And last year, we not only need accountability, but we also need intelligence. It just so happens that the Saints IQ offensively has also gone up because we did a lot of foolish stuff last year, especially early on. And then, when teams don't believe in the coach, they don't believe in who they're dealing with, stuff start falling apart. And Dennis Allen didn't do what he was supposed to do as a head coach, was put his foot down and go in there and move people around. Not physically, but, go in there and say, hey, listen, you're not working at the offensive line, coach. Jari Evans you up. You see what I'm saying? Okay, you're not working as a wide receiver coach. Hey, you're up next. Let's see what you could do. Pete Carmichael, you're not working well. Ronald Curry, you up. We're going to make the switch just for a couple of games, see how guys respond to it. And them coaches, they'll say, you know what, they wouldn't like it, but they would understand because they're not doing it. The stuff was failing under their guidance. Doug Marrone was awful, especially early on. And by the time the Saints got rolling later on in the year, it was too late. You can only lose so many games before stuff fall out for you. And the Saints they couldn't muster it up. And like I said before, you're not going to beat if you're an off-code team like the Saints was last year, despite what Demario Davis was saying. I like Demario Davis, but Demario Davis is a dude that will ride with you as you walk into the volcano. I'm just keeping it real, because he should have spoke up last year, like Alvin Kamara spoke up, like Marshawn Lattimore. That's why these people were getting flack, because they was like, man, listen, these are winners. They're not going to sit up here and watch all this going to say, bro, why y'all not fussing at these players when they false start and people false start? And he was the one that said that. We knew what it looked like, but he was saying like people would false start in practice. And I was like, okay, what you want me to do? I can only do so much as a player. The coaches, it's their job to keep players on code. And like I said, if you're an off-code team with a fractured locker room and an inconsistent philosophy, you're not going to beat a team that's the opposite. If they're on code and they got a good coach and the coach is doing this thing, you're not going to beat that team. You're not, man. Because when you get to the cusp of the area of the game where you need that extra set of skill to step up, it won't be there. And that's the issue we had. Remember, the team is as good as its head coach, which kind of slights people a bit. If Dennis Allen, I don't expect him to be super accountable and go from whatever low percentage he was to like a high percentage. I don't see that. What I do see, and he alluded to this early on, was he talked about the accountability of the people that he hired, offensively speaking, and how that could be moved, or how that energy could then move into the team. Like the accountability of the offense and those guys would then move to the rest of the team and they will get on code that way. Very interesting philosophy, because that's supposed to come from the top down. It's supposed to happen from the top down of the organization. Accountability starts up here, don't start down there. So that's a very interesting philosophy. Will it work? We'll see. We'll see how it works. But I do like the guys that they picked up offensively speaking. I think they'll do enough to get us into the playoffs. I do think that. I think the Saints will win 10 games this year, and I think they'll get into the playoffs. Now, people are like, man, Q, I don't want to hear that because I want to see Dennis Allen gone. And I said, well, I don't want to waste any time, because the fiddle-faddle around will want to lose. You're wasting the window of some really good players we have, trying to get rid of one dude. You got guys like Tyrann Mathieu, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, who's healthy. You got good players here. Well, I don't want to waste any more time, because we've been losing the last 3 years. I don't want to lose anymore. I'm a winner. I want to win. I don't want to sit up here and do play-by-play and watch the Saints stink every damn Sunday. I don't want to do that no more. I want to win. In Atlanta, these people picking up their stuff, Tampa Bay picking up their stuff, these other people trying to change up their whole stuff. It's time. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. But I think the Saints do make it. A lot of people probably won't agree with me on that, but I'm just keeping it all the way funky with you. All right, thank you. Japanese Hercules says, no, Andy Tanner is the inaugural inductor. Training camp induction ceremony to be held at Greenbrier. There you go. Y'all remember? Put one in the chat if you remember Andy Tanner. Right? That's a name for you. That's a name for your ass. All right, Cartel says, I feel like they're looking to replace DA, and he knows that, so either they tried to keep him in position by surrendering him with better talented coaches, or he's going to listen. I'm not going to say it. Cartel, you could be on something. I don't. If I could tell the future that clear, brother, I didn't hit you. I didn't been and hit them lottery numbers like 4 months in a row. If I was that good, but all I could say is it's all based on how the Saints react to this first 5 or 6 games. If Dennis Allen doesn't get the Saints winning early, it's going to be difficult on, because the pressure is going to be unbearable. I'm just going to keep it honest, all the way funky with you. The Saints, and if the Saints, because they got 5, Carolina is another game. That's a trap game starting the season off, in my opinion. Then you have these other games because Dallas is in week 2 at Dallas. You got Philly in there. You got Atlanta in there. You got Kansas City in there in week 5. Then you got Tampa. And then you have Sean Payton in New Orleans on a short week after the Tampa Bay game that's in New Orleans. So, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. And depending on how the Saints react to that, because we're going to know early on. We really are going to know early on what happens. Because if Dennis Allen falls in the hole, and I'm talking like 2-3 games, and not 2, maybe 2 are not that bad, but maybe 3 or more games in a hole during that time frame, that's going to be very difficult to get out of because the pressure and everything. We'll see. Because like I said, the Saints have the talent. It's all about making it work. And they're under a pressure cooker right now. It's a pressure cooker. They'll say, if you ask him that, he'll say, no, it ain't no pressure cooker. But I'm going to be honest with you. It's a pressure cooker. Anytime you've missed in the last year under Sean Payton, people like giving Sean Payton a pass. I'm not giving Sean Payton a pass on that last year because Sean Payton was doing stuff he wasn't supposed to do. Like talking to people about retiring during the year when he and Jay Glazer let this drop, and I often talk about this. You can go back in that season and listen to the show because I got it. The interview, you probably can't find it anymore, but that's why I play interviews during the show to archive them. But Jay Glazer dropped the nugget that Sean Payton was talking to him in November, late November, when the Saints were should have been focused on a playoff push, but he talking to Jay Glazer about giving him the scoop on the fact that he going to retire at the end of the year. Now that's a severe violation because Sean Payton would throw your ass in the doghouse if you was operating like that. That could have waited till the end of the season. So that was off code behavior. It's like, why the Saints failed? It was because that's what was happening. And then you couple it with some other stuff that was going on. But a major reason Sean Payton failed is because Sean Payton was distracted. You ain't supposed to be talking about retirement when you're in the midst of trying to get a playoff. You're trying to get some games, win some games. You ain't supposed to be talking about no damn retirement. Let that wait till after the year over with. That's how professionals supposed to do it, right? Check. And then the first year under Dennis Allen, because Sean Payton told Mickey to pick him, and then we've been having them ever since. They went backwards 7-10. Y'all know the script. You know the game. So in the end, where are we now? We're at the place we should have been at a couple of years ago. So we went all this way, come all the way to come here to pick up a system. Now listen, they could have kept Payton's system in place. You just needed a guy with some accountability and a backbone and some intelligence to run it, not a guy sitting in the corner eating cheese. So, I mean, it's just weird, man. But in the end, I do think finally, because of the pressure, because people was at Mickey Loomis's neck last year to get rid of Dennis Allen and to fire Dennis Allen. The heat was unbearable. You see how Mickey Loomis looked in that end of the season gum chewing press conference where he was off his meds looking. You never see Mickey Loomis look that crazy, but that's what pressure do to your ass. That's what it do to you. That's what it made him look like a raving lunatic out there in that press conference, chewing that damn gum like that, loud smacking, his eyes bucking, his face flush. I was like, this dude owns something, or off his meds. You ain't never seen Mickey look that mess, but that's what pressure do to you. And they were trying to run. Remember, they were supposed to set these press conferences up at certain points, and then they waited all the way to try to wait you out so some of the energy would dissipate. And he said that lame excuse about him saying, well, I was upset. That's why it took so long. No, you were scared. That's what you were scared. You were scared. Like, why is this guy still here? But in the end, there was no protection from Dennis Allen. He understands that. This is a pressure cooker, and the Saints have to perform. Now, the good news is they do have the intelligent people in there. It is a very big gamble to remove your entire offense that you had for 20 years and put a brand new system in there in 1 year, and you have to get it to work in that same year very early on, right? To kind of build some steam, some momentum. You got to get, it's a huge gamble, but it's bold. And I do like bold moves because fortune favors the bold. So I'm thinking the Saints, they made the right moves, but we'll see if it cash in, man. I'm gonna see if I'm right on this. And if I'm not right, then y'all know y'all could tell me how wrong I was. KD said, this is why I wish we had Hard Knocks up behind the scene. Oh man. We escaped Hard Knocks this time around, man. It's very interesting. All right, what's up, T Dirty? Shout out to my homeboy T Dirty. Big ups to you, bro. YO, salute to you, my brother. ESPN got the Saints last in our power. I know they asked Mickey Loomis about some of this stuff, Dennis Allen about some of this stuff, and their replies was, I don't listen to none of that. None of that matters. They're unqualified. No, hold on. Unqualified. They're unqualified to put these rankings together about my damn team. They're unqualified. You know, that's how they look. I'm like, no. Say, okay, that's cool. And then take that back to the team and say, listen, they telling the whole world, think the ESPN telling the world that y'all ain't shit. You see this, put it up on the screen. That's what Sean Payton would have did. That's what he used to do. Sean Payton, they giving you a layup. They giving you ammunition. Use it. Show them all. Like, look at all these people saying the Saints ain't nothing. Show it to them. Show it to them. It's the next best thing besides getting a win is using stuff that they hear that's negative and showing the team so you can create an atmosphere of the Saints against everybody. That's what you're supposed to do. Sean Payton did that better than anybody. He would show them the bad articles and the shit talking. He would show it to them. He really would. And that's how you do it. So we know Sean Payton's slick in that regard. Dennis Allen, not so much. A little too much defensive coordinator there. He needs to kind of mature up a level or two to get to that head coach level. He still, he still got defensive coordinator vibes to me. You get what I'm saying? I don't see head coach when no disrespect to Dennis Allen. I just don't see it. He still operates similarly. Just, you know what I mean? You get that? Because you look at a team and say, that's a head coach over there. I don't see that in Dennis Allen. No disrespect, man. That's just my opinion. All right, Ram says, Q, since they've been talking trash about Tipton the last couple of days, can you see a play with him putting down Sheed and Tipton on the fly? Yeah, they've been balling, Ramsey. We knew that about Mason Tipton, didn't we? We talked about that. Eric said, let's see how DA handled this year with new OC O-line. I know it's a lot, bro. I think we dog DA too much. He did have the right personnel. Now I don't think you dog him too much, Eric. I think he gets the right amount of criticism. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Dennis Allen gets, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Dennis Allen gets the right amount of criticism. I think Mickey Loomis gets the right amount of criticism. I think Derek Carr gets the right amount of criticism. I don't see, and this is me talking from the Great Saint Think Tank that's keeping strictly football. I don't care about the personal stuff, but I believe they do get the right amount of criticism. I really do believe that. I think they're supposed to because they're failing. It ain't just 1 year. This has been 3 years of failure under Dennis Allen. 2 years under Dennis, 3 years under Mickey Loomis. And then he's talking this patience stuff. You don't have patience, bro. This team is built to win right now. What are you talking about? He was saying, well, it has to be a little patience. No, your patience, that's out of the door. It's been 3 years of playoff failures. How long you want them to be patient and still support you? No, you got to give them something. You got to give people something. I don't know you like that. Be patient with me. I don't know you like that for you to be asking me to be patient with this one. And we already given you 3 years to turn this around. And the Saints had all of the people in place that they needed to win right away. See, it's a certain amount. If you can't do the job, find somebody else that can do it. That's what I'm saying. And this is not just me. This is the ultra uber competitive life of the NFL team. Come on. The NFL stands for what? Not short for, not how you pronounce it? Not for long. It's the not for long league. NFL, not for long. Why? Because it's, like he says, tough to win in NFL. Not unless you do what you're supposed to do. Not unless you do what you're supposed to be and be who you're supposed to be. If you know you got a coach over there that is intelligent and knows this, that, and the third, you're supposed to be learning and being in your books and all of that, man. You should be supposed to be studying and doing whatever you could do to upraise yourself as a head coach so that you can help your team. If you have to be a better communicator, go take communication courses, go to do whatever you got to do. You see what I'm saying? You got to crisp up that part of your game. You got to be a better, you can't be the same dude you was. You can't operate. You have a certain set of skills that you have to improve upon. You got to improve upon. You got a team here that's counting on you. They need your intelligence. They need your attention to the game. You got to do all that. And if you don't have those skills, whoever you have in place, you better present them at the right time to know who your team is and when to go to them and be able to trust them with that. So, it is a huge gamble. It absolutely is, man. The offense, you mentioned the offensive line, Eric. That's true. You got couple of inexperienced tackles there, that's really something else. That's why a lot of people ain't giving the Saints a lot of giving a go, because they don't believe the Saints offensive line going to be hitting on nothing. I hear it all the time. ESPN said, Fox said, I like Alvin Kamara. They run the whole thing now. Stephen A. Line, headline, he'll talk about it too when he do mention the Saints. He'll talk about all the Alvin Kamara as a phenomenal player. Wow, we got that Cressel Lafa as a phenomenal player. It's, all that. And then offensive line, that's why you're not going to have success. They all said the same thing. I don't know about the Saints offensive line. And the truth is, it is a huge gamble, but John Benton is who you got to look at. Is John Benton capable of taking that Saints offensive line and turning them into something? And John Benton is the key. He really is. When you talk about Clint Kubiak, that's one aspect, but there is no offense for the Saints running a 49er style offense, but there is no offense without that offensive line. That offensive line will have to be able to run the football. And I feel comfortable about that because I know that John Benton has athletically big, gifted, strong linemen that are decent or that are pretty good run blockers. And if you relying on that, you should be all right because you got to build up their confidence. So, I mean, we'll see how John Benton handles it, but I got a lot of respect for John Benton, man. So we'll see. All right, 504 says, Q, are you or the nachos? Yeah, respect to you, Eric. Appreciate you, man. All right, or the nachos. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I want to eat them. I ate some nachos. They backed me up one time. Oh my God. All right, YO says, I believe in the secondary, like 2000 rate. Oh yeah, the secondary is cool, man. All right, what's up, Colorado? How you doing, sir? Appreciate you, man. Pam and Whammy, I see you, Queen. Much love. All right, YO says, report is Alante to be the first one there and last to leave. Yeah, because man. That's what I was saying about the draft and the Kool-Aid McKinstry, the hip flexor now with Marshawn Lattimore. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him from the rest of the training, not him doing anything big in training camp. Like you'll see him off to the side once he gets to that point. But preseason games and all that, nah, that's over with, in my opinion, until the regular season start. But the Saints are in good position, aren't they? They drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry in the second round. If Marshawn Lattimore is not there, Paulson Adebo goes up to 1. You got Kool-Aid. You have Alante Taylor. And then, of course, the Saints will have to figure out who's the next guy up, the next cornerback up behind those guys, whether it's Will Harris, who will be there, a guy that could play corner and safety for you. He's like the utility guy. They like him. Whether there's these other guys like Rajon Wright or Gene Charles or Shamar Jean Charles, or one of these characters, who's that next guy? So I mean, it'll ferret it out. But the Saints, they're in pretty good straits when it comes down to the cornerback situation. All right, fam, here go the man Willie Gay, man. Love Willie Gay, man.
But he's warmed up because of that veto.
Willie, is this your favorite day of camp? Not just here, but in the league that first day I put pass on?
Oh yeah, definitely. It gets like real. It's real football once the pass come on. So a lot more fun.
How are you progressing, really limiting your role when they play for so far?
Everything's going good, man. Like you say, I'm just playing my role, doing my job, and hopefully to increase my role in whatever position that may be. Learning the playbook. Like I say, I want to get it down to a T. So when I'm out on the field and the bullets flying, there's no thinking, it's just all action. So, but as of right now, it's going pretty good.
But it's competition when it comes to,
I'm sorry, start over?
I know it's competition when it comes to, getting your spot on the field, but being in that room with DeMario and Pete, how is that continuing to help your growth?
Obviously, Pete been here 4 years. DeMario been in the league forever. Seeing those guys play the way they play this style of defense and the way they run the scheme, I watch those guys and learn anything that I can. Even though I'm older than Pete, like I say, he's been here longer, so you can learn something from anybody. And I'm definitely taking notes every day I get a chance to.
Willie, there's a lot of talk about you and Pete in sort of a competition for playing time. Is it possible that when you look at that linebacker group, that the three of you with DeMario could maybe be on the field together more than people expect?
We definitely can now. me and Pete on the outside, no matter what position, Will or Sam, or either one of us, there's nothing we can't do. You know, I feel like we can cover, we can blitz, we can tackle. You know, obviously not perfect, but if you want us to play out in space, we can. If you want us to play in the box, we can. So we definitely want to get it to the point where we're playing more three linebackers in the box at all times. But, you know, it's a scheme thing, you know, whatever works and whatever helps us win.
But obviously what you showed them in training camp can help make that happen, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So we're definitely trying.
What stands out to you about how Mike Hodges coaches and his energy and all that stuff?
Like I was telling the person earlier, he's just such a player's coach. He's one of those leaders, man, and he's only like 35, 34 years old. So like he understands that he doesn't know everything, but he's one of those leaders who's humble enough he listens, but he still leads the room, you know. And when you see that in a coach, it's the best thing ever because, you know, like I said, you can learn something from anybody. And when you do that in a leader role, it makes us respect you even more. So he's a great coach, best I ever had, man, and I'm glad to be here under him.
How many guys on this team were on that same Mississippi State defense? Were you all?
JT, Jonathan Abram, yep.
Talk about the chemistry you guys have.
Oh, we just I know what those two guys got in them, man. I know they're ballers, you know. Obviously JT been showing that special teams, and Jonathan Abram, man, he make plays all over. He can make plays all over the field, and we trust each other, you know. And when we're out there together, whether it's with the twos or on special teams, we know what each one of us are capable of, and we plan to see it on Sundays. So,
Really, now that you've had a new coaching staff, kind of look at you and analyze your game, and was there anything new that you're kind of working on this summer, this spring, or something?
Man, it's just football, you know. It's just the little things, tackling, getting in position, being what you're supposed to do, being where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing. You know, it ain't rocket science. You just line up, play football, and continue to just try to be consistent with it. You know, I can say that, but at the end of the day, is doing your job over and over again.
On top of that, what stands out to you about what this defense maybe does differently, or either not you've gotten more time in?
They definitely use their linebackers more, and I'm super excited about that. You know, like I said, obviously Pete and Demario have been here longer. You know, they running the show right now, but any way that I can, I want to increase my role so that, you know, maybe one day, you know, if it pans out, I'm getting some of those third down reps or, you know, getting more playing time. But it's a defense that's definitely led by the linebackers, and we definitely going to drive the bus and lead the best way we can.
You say that the linebackers are, you know, that they use their linebackers. What's unique about what they do?
Third down, man. Shoot, man. You making me reminisce. But back in the day, you know, everybody came off the field where I was before, and except one Mike linebacker. But now, man, they leave both guys on the field, and like I was telling him earlier, if all three guys are good enough, shoot, they'll leave all of us out there. I feel like it's more of a, hey, if you can do it, we'll run it type of scheme here, and I'm glad that they actually trust their linebackers.
How is your game?
That's very interesting because we talked about the 43 defense, and we've seen them practicing and using the 43 more. Although they operate and use the 43 defense in a way that'll be effective. Like if you have a 3 wide receiver set, usually they'll go into the modified nickel to cover it. But then some, if the 43 and base looks, because I know Dennis Allen talked about that prior to this year about the 43 defense. But Willie Gay definitely has the ability to cover the tight end if need be. Now, like I said, I like Pete Werner. Pete's in the final year of his deal. But the Saints are they're bringing Willie Gay in here for his athletic ability, among other things. I mean, he has a speed component Pete Werner simply doesn't have. We can't, and then as DeMario ages, like I talked about before, if you watch the film, his lateral ability is decreasing as well. But you need a guy who, you know, that can be able to do the things that Willie Gay does. You know, his speed and his aggressiveness, his intelligence. I mean, he has stuff that athletically, he's just a better athlete than Pete Werner. But Pete's very cunning. That's the thing about Pete. Despite his athletic limitations, he knows he developed his IQ to try to put himself in position where the play is. He's very cunning. So he knows to a degree his limitations and how he can kind of overcome them to a degree. But Willie Gay is a guy who's is a little older than him in terms of, you know, being in the game and understanding that. But what Willie Gay could bring to the Saints defense, man, That's a whole nother level that we've been missing since you talk about Quan Alexander. You talk about even when Preston Smith was here, when he played a little bit. We definitely need that athletic ability next to Mario Davis, for real. Here we go.
And Pete's game similar, and maybe what is the difference between you two guys?
I'll say the only difference is I'm bigger. Like I will say, like Pete's about 234. I'm pushing a good 240. I got 2 kids now, so that's the daddy weight. But man, we such similar players, man. We're fast, can tackle. Shoot, I even try to take some tackling techniques from Pete because he can tackle, and we it's everything that he does, man. I can do everything I can do. I feel like he can do, And not the same, shoot better sometimes, So we definitely learn from each other, man, and try to get better and compete with each other. So thank you.
We don't need no more Mississippi State talk.
Shout out to Willie, man. Shout out to Willie. All right. 504 says, Q, in your opinion, who's better in coverage, Willie or Pete? I mean, athletically, like I said, Pete's not a terrible cover, but like I said, you want to have your athletic guy out there covering it. That's all, because, the tight end situation, man, we got ate up by some of these tight ends last year. We just couldn't. They just would just go into the tight end. The Hawkinson, the Detroit game, they was just murking us on defense because we could not cover the tight end. Willie Gay helps with that. Pete Werner would just get cooked there. So, I think he has that advantage. Now, Willie knows the system. Willie's been in the system. Pete Werner has been in the system. That's what I mean. Pete's been in the system, so he has that. Like I said, Pete knows his athletic limitations. I said that when they drafted him coming out of Ohio State. I was like, man, this guy is a ball. He knows how. He has a head for where the play is. He has a nose for the ball. He's very cunning, very intelligent, high IQ football-wise. Pete Werner's that. But from the terms of his athletic gifts, no, he doesn't have all that. That's why I say you see DeMario and him together. If you have DeMario and DeMario's getting older, you need somebody next to DeMario that can move. You need somebody that can move, that can cover tight ends, that can blitz, that can do help out and run support, that can get to the quarterback. That's why the Saints brought Willie Gay here. They the ones that created this whole thing, this competition between Willie Gay and Pete Werner. They competed. They made this competition because they knew they needed somebody that was some speed that can hit it and quit it. They need somebody that can get in there and run that damn thing. All right. So anyway, fam, we're gonna get to this. Yeah, I have to give it up to Willie Gay on that, because Willie Gay, man, if you watch his footage, the dude can move, man. And like I said, Chase Young, Willie Gay, you got Carl Granderson over there. It's just more speed that you did not have. And they talking about Chase Young. You heard what Dennis Allen talked about with Chase Young. Man, listen, if Chase Young is healthy and you got Carl flipping Granderson over there, who's better conditioned than what he was last year, and then you got Willie Gay playing next to DeMario Davis in the defense, man, that is a big boost to speed and ability to the Saints defense. It really is. It changes things. It really does. It makes a hell of a difference when you got Chase firing off the opposite side of Carl Granderson and Willie Gay back there in coverage, or sending him in the blitz to go get the quarterback, or to operate and run support. It's a whole nother look to it. It's another feel to it based on what we had. No disrespect to Pete Werner, but the Saints knew what they did when they brought Willie Gay in here. They know what they was doing.
Get the eyes turned to you right away.
Get the basics down, learn the playbook. But I think the most important thing to me is getting my teammates respect. And that's, working the hardest, helping out in any way I can, doing whatever I can to help the team win. I think that was, the first thing on my mind.
Do you feel like you've done that? Got your teammates respect?
I think I'm on the way there. But I'm new here. I don't think, it's been enough time for somebody to even get to know me yet. So, building those relationships with these guys, showing them what I'm about. I think, that's a stairway, stepping stones to each stage.
What have you learned about yourself, just being out here and succeeding so far at this level?
Nothing I didn't know already. I work hard. I tell myself I work the hardest. So, any moments out here is something that I've already believed that I could do. So, it's just, like I said, when I'm prepared, I trust myself that I'm prepared. I come out here to make the plays that I know I can make.
DA was saying earlier that obviously they see the speed down the field, all that stuff. They want to learn more about what you can do as a route runner, underneath, yards after catch, all that stuff. What can you do on those other routes and after the catch?
I think it's important to know that I can run the whole route tree. Obviously I'm fast, but I've always been a deep threat receiver, but I can run every single route in the game, and I think that's what kind of makes me dynamic, especially in the pass game.
Do you have sort of a chip on your shoulder coming in as an undrafted guy?
Absolutely. I think, I wouldn't say it's the hard way, but it's the opportunity that God gave me. So, first and foremost, I'm appreciative. I'm very thankful to be here. But yeah, I definitely have a chip on my shoulder, and it's something that I gotta, I know I have to come out here and prove it every day.
What was the draft process for you like?
It was new, it was something I never went through obviously before. So, it was just controlling what I could control. And I think that's how I ended up here.
Jason, how many opportunities did you have before you went to Yale?
I had about 15 offers out of high school.
So why did you pick? What led you there?
So it really came down to Kent State or Yale. And I'm from Akron, so Kent State's about 30 minutes from me. And when, I got the Yale offer, my mom kind of looked at me and she was like, the very least you're going to take this visit. So I took the visit and I ended up loving it. And then, I have a great relationship with honestly everybody in the organization at Yale. So I'm super fortunate that I went there.
And was that the only Ivy League school that you considered?
I had Dartmouth. Dartmouth was the other Ivy League offer, but I only took my official to Yale.
Do you get a different kind of respect from your teammates when they find out you went to Yale? What kind of stuff do you hear?
I think they give me too much credit. The first thing they hear is Yale, and they assume I'm a genius. I think it's more jokes, but obviously I'm very fortunate that I did. That I was able to go to, one of the top academic institutions in the world. So, a little bit of both.
DA was saying that there's a difference between like smart, football smart. Is that something that you've noticed as well, or does it translate like to?
I think all great football players have to be football smart. You can't be overthinking on the football field get you beat. So, and it's funny, that was the first thing he told me when I met him. I got here for a committee camp was, I don't care. He was like, I don't care if you're smart. You need to be football smart. So that was, clear what he saw.
And then in terms of the Saints registering interest in you in the pre-draft process, or like, did it come together fast after you went undrafted, or how did that?
It was extremely fast. Like I said, it was something I never experienced before, but it was extremely fast. It was like in a blink of an eye I had to make a decision. So, but obviously, I trust God, and I felt like He was pulling me this way. So, I trusted Him, and here we are.
Did you think you were a possibility to go late in the draft too, or?
I thought so. I mean, there, obviously never, and anything's never for certain, but. But like I said, I trust God, and we're here.
How many of the teams are interested in the draft process?
It was a couple, but I'll be honest, I don't really think that matters now. But I had a couple opportunities. But it's I'll say it again. It just came down to where I felt I was being called, and I went.
What's the main thing you're taking away from the other receivers?
I mean, each guy, I think what's cool about this room is each guy kind of brings something different. Obviously, the guys that we have are all dynamic. There's bigger body, bigger, longer receivers. There's, fast guys. So it's something that I can, learn from everyone. So that's kind of something I've been trying to do, is just watch who does what well and see what I can add to my game.
Who's the best receiver in that row?
I would like to say that I can contend for that spot, but I think Sheed and Olave both can really run, so I won't get ahead of myself. I think those guys are extremely fast.
There's not like a huge tradition of Yale products in the NFL. So when did that become like a realistic kind of goal for you? Was it like right when you stepped there, or was it kind of later on in the process?
Truthfully, it was probably after my freshman season. I've been a starter. I was a 4-year starter at Yale, and I think after my freshman season, having the bit of success that I had, I think my eyes were open to hey, if you really want to chase this and you really want to play at the next level, then you got to put all your chips in. So, I think that was when I opened my eyes to working hard and doing whatever I could to, get where I said I was going to get to.
And you were at Keith Williams' camp. What was what's kind of your relationship with him been like, and just with the kind of receiver group as a whole? Seems like kind of these kind of almost family.
I mean, he's a guy that really cares, and I think his genuine personality is something I think draws us all in. He's obviously super knowledgeable about the game. He's coached some of the best receivers in the game, and at the same time, it's like you said, the family atmosphere, the brotherhood inside the receiver room. And I think the most important thing is that he coaches all of us like we're his sons. So he's going to give us what is best for ourselves, and I think that's important.
Also, you mentioned your mom with Gail. Did she have any say on ending up on the Saints game?
No.
So, if you were thinking about the NFL since sophomore year, how did you approach the transfer portal?
I had thought about it, but to be honest, Coach Reno at Yale, I think one of the things I liked the most about Yale was the brotherhood aspect. And I had a great relationship with my class, and we were 3-time Ivy League champions, so that was a goal of ours to win 3, and that's what we did. I think it was just a decision that I made that we were going to finish it the right way.
Okay, it didn't have to do with like the whole balance of what a Yale degree is.
Well, that too. I mean, I think that kind of speaks for itself. I wasn't going to leave Yale if I already did 3 years. I wasn't going to leave then and not get my degree. I think that kind of would have been kind of goofy. So.
Do you think there are any particular highlights you could cite from your college football career that made it really hard for scouts to not notice you?
Did you say that again?
Any particular highlights, just favorite plays from your college career that you think, looking back, those are probably ones that made it impossible for the scouts to ignore me?
I think there's a lot of them. Like I said, I've always been a deep threat receiver, but I think the questions that all the scouts or people looking at me was just that, how does they look at the Ivy League in a certain light, how does the speed translate to this level? And I understand, but at the same time, I think it's hard to ignore, a playmaker. So I have a lot of highlights, thankfully, that'll show a scout that I can play.
Thank you.
Yep, appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Here's Trevor.
Shout out to Mason Tipton, man, and we talked about, like I said, I made mention of Mason Tipton during the season when we started doing a lot of the draft stuff. I kind of warned the family members about him. The man had 10 catches, 10 touchdown grabs last year. I think he averaged over 15 yards per catch, 53 catches last year. And he runs a 4.33 in the 40. So he has the speed, and he said that he can run every route. Now, he really can. If you go and watch the film on it, the dude is a very crisp route runner. He's a natural. Some of the family members looking at him aesthetically looks like he's a relative of the great Lance Moore. Lance was 5'9", or 5'10", something like that. Mason is 5'11". Could he be a Lance Moore type? The kid's a natural. Like he mentioned, he playing with a chip on his shoulder because he felt like he should have been drafted. And he should have kind of got the late draft pick later on. But for the Saints and you heard him, and I'm glad they asked the question about it because it's the first time he had an opportunity to talk to him about how the Saints were able to acquire him. He said right after the draft, the Saints got a hold of him. Tipton was a dude that should have got drafted. We kept talking about it. If he was 6'2", 6'3", he would have definitely been a top 4. He'd been within the first 4 rounds. He'd have been gone. Probably a little higher. But the kid can ball. He's a natural. Runs, like I said, good routes. Got the speed, 4.33. He's solid. It's just that height situation. So, like I said, if you're making a team beyond the third wide receiver position with Mason Tipton, could be an X factor. He really could, if you think about it. If he keeps on impressing. But then again, it all depends on Dennis Allen seeing them and saying, hey, guy, we want you on the team. And how many wide receivers do the Saints keep? I'm thinking 5. Maybe they keep 6. Mason will have to play special teams. who's going to be the kick returner, not named Rashid Shaheed. You don't want Rashid Shaheed always back that kick returner and a punt returner. Who's going to be that? That's yet to be determined. That'll be determined later on who'll be lining up for those jobs. But you don't want to see Alvin Kamara. You don't want to see Taysom Hill. You don't want to see Rashid Shaheed. You want to have a guy exclusively that kick returns, punt, and another one that punt returns, or the same guy, depending on how it looks. So who's that, guys? We haven't really gotten down to that yet. So that's another thing to keep a mention on. Here's Trevor Penning coming in.
Oh, yeah. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. This weather's great.
Very nice. Very nice.
Look, how would you sort of gauge where you feel like you are right now? Are you satisfied with your first 5? I know everything's not going to be perfect. Are you satisfied with what you've sort of put out there so far in 5 days in?
So far, yeah. I think. I mean, there's always work you can do, but so far, I feel like I've been a lot more comfortable, even from years past and even the spring. So I think so far, I've been pretty comfortable doing some good things. I mean, there's obviously a ton of stuff I can still improve on, but I'll take that day by day and just keep improving every day.
Aaron McCoy talked about your confidence. How much can you feel that your confidence has grown?
I feel a lot more confident for sure. I feel like I'm not afraid to make really a mistake. I mean, obviously you don't want to make mistakes, but I feel like mistakes are kind of how you learn. And I think the previous 2 years, I think I've been, it was hard to kind of making a mistake kind of bothered me, but now it's kind of like a learning moment. You can learn from it, flush it, and, use it and try never to make it again, but use it to learn and keep going.
Who did you kind of talk to get to that point? Who did you kind of talk to get to that point?
I mean, different people. Kind of just internally, a lot of it. I mean, I just kind of, watching film and stuff, and I've heard it from older guys, older vets, even training. I know guys like Teron Armstead and guys I worked with down there. He was kind of a mentor to me. Teron was having him kind of hit his mental process he uses and kind of stuff he does. Definitely helps. So.
Where is the first day pass for you guys? I know you weren't as physical as probably you'd like to be, but can you just gauge how you felt like you performed out there today and how comfortable you were today?
I think it was okay. I mean, there's definitely, it's first day in pads. You got to kind of get used to, hitting people for real again. I mean, it's been since, January since we did that. But first day, I think it went fine. There's definitely some things I can clean up. As an offense, we can clean up as well. But overall, it's a good day. We can learn from it.
Is it really not that big of a deal to switch from one side to the other? Side you've been playing all your life on those sides?
It's definitely an adjustment for sure. But from the moment I figured out I was switching to now, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable. I feel like even going to the left side now would be a little weird. It'd be kind of all backwards there. So, but it's been good so far. Just keep working every day and getting more comfortable with it.
When did you link up with Teron? When did that relationship kind of start?
This after OTAs, he was down there training in the Frisco.
Mastermind.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, what's that been like? 'Cause obviously, he had a ton of success here. So, what kind of did he try to help you out with?
A lot of technique, a lot of the mental side of it. Kind of like a plan is almost kind of what he was trying to help me with. Was kind of develop a plan before you even get to the line of scrimmage. What you're going to do to them and not let the rusher dictate what you're going to do. So taking more of a offensive approach and being the guy who kind of sets the tone over what he's going to do. So.
How important is this season for you?
Very important. Very important for sure. I mean, the first 2 years, it's not what I really wanted. So I want to go out there and show, what I can do. Because I know I can. I just got to do it.
Do you feel like you're under a microscope? As far as just focusing on you?
Yeah, maybe a little. I mean, I don't really let outside noise bother me. So.
Do you feel like you're close to sort of earning and winning that job? Like, I'm sure that's the goal for you. Do you feel like that's attainable and not that far away for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not up to me, but I mean, I'm doing what I can do to do that. So,
Trevor, I'm sure you've got advice from a million people and new people, like the guys you worked with in the offseason, new coaching staff and everything. So you've probably got 30 things that are the secret to it. What have you boiled down to as this main thing?
What was he supposed to say to that last question? You think you ready to no, I'm not. I mean, what kind of question was that? I don't, that was kind of
That you want to accomplish, I guess, or that'll help you turn things around.
kind of what I want to do this year.
What have you decided is like the main?
I mean, I want to do what I can, for this team to win. I want to be, a key contributor to that. I want to, play how I think I'm able to play, be, a dominant player, which I believe I can become. So that's kind of what I want to do. And, I'm going to use training camp to work to get to that.
Do you feel like the scheme fits your game well? There's a lot of stuff in space. You're an athletic guy. Like, is there stuff?
You mean like the offense and stuff?
Yeah.
I think this offense is definitely more of my style of kind of how my play style, and I think that's the same for all the other guys on our line. We got big athletic dudes that are that can move, and it's a lot of run, play action, a lot of stuff to get the defense moving. So I think with our guys, I think it'll fit really good.
Trevor, you guys have run a wide zone a bunch in the past. It's not like you can just make up new running plays. What is it about this offense you think that has kind of made that successful for the running game, for the O-line, all that stuff?
I think we really emphasize it more than what we did in the past. I mean, we ran it before, but now it's more kind of our main bread and butter type of thing, and we're really focusing on getting good at that. And different counters off of that, different schemes we can run off of wide zone. The wide zone's kind of our thing that we want to be good at, and we kind of take pride in that. So I'm really excited for how it's going to look.
Joe, what's you kind of tell us about Eric McCoy's leadership in the O-line?
He's a good vocal leader. He leads by example. He sets the tone, kind of what we want to have every day. Kind of the little things that we want to improve on. He's going to be the guy making sure we're all in order and making sure we're right. He's a great leader.
Have you talked to Ramchick yet?
As far as this? Not in a while, no.
A lot of some of the best players in NFL history, their transition to the club was difficult for them. Even Drew Brees on this team, it's the first couple of years. Do you ever consult people like that for advice? Or there's a wide variety of reasons that it doesn't happen immediately for some guys. Do you feel like you have a good handle on why that was for you, and have you consulted guys on how to approach it?
I haven't really. I've talked to. I know Bryce Pop. He was a D lineman in the league for a while. He's played at Northern Iowa. I talked to him in the offseason. He played in the league. He was Defensive Player of the Year in like '95, I think it was. I talked to him. He was telling me, he kind of had a similar situation. I mean, he was a later round pick, but I know he was telling me his third year they were trying to replace him and stuff, and he kind of just basically told me, just put your head down, don't worry about any of the outside noise, just go to work, don't worry about any of this stuff, and that he ended up playing and being a very good player for a long time. So he basically was just saying, don't let any of that outside stuff, don't let anything bother you, just put your head down and work, and good things will happen.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, man, Penning, man, that's a big question mark. A lot of people say, man, listen, what's up with Trevor Penning? Remember last year, and let's kind of just, when we talk about Trevor Penning, let's kind of go over the timeline of what happened, because I often kind of do the timeline dealing with Trevor Penning. When the Saints drafted Trevor Penning, they didn't play Trevor Penning the first year until the very last game of the season against Carolina. Now, he was having some type of health issues in his first year. Y'all remember that? But then when he became healthy, he was on the team and wasn't even playing. And I was like, in some of these games where the Saints, might be up or they're not doing enough, let's see if we can get Trevor Penning in there to see what he, because they were dealing with some injury. There's some injury issues then, but Trevor Penning could have come in and play. They didn't utilize him until the last game of that first year, his rookie year, and that was against Carolina. They let him play. He did a decent job. Then the next year, in the sophomore year number 2, they had the bright idea to say, okay, Trevor Penning is going to start at the blind side position for the Saints, the left tackle position. And I was like, no, hell no. And I was saying it when they first drafted the kid. If you go back and listen to the shows, I was saying, listen, don't put Trevor Penning at the left tackle position. I was saying it the whole damn time. And they did it anyway. And the logic to it is not something that's, that's extra special. It's football fundamentals, which means you don't put, unless you're a young team, and you got a young offensive lineman or whatever, or like what the Saints got going on right now. They're going with Tali Fuaga at the left tackle position because I don't think they could afford to go into free agency and go and find a more experienced offensive lineman to play the blindside position. So they did the cheap man route. That's a lot of the moves the Saints did this year were very cheap moves to try to put the team together. And then, of course, my thing was putting Penning at the right tackle position, moving Ramczyk over to the left tackle position. That best tackle should be the blindside tackle. It should be. Now, you heard people say that tackles, it don't really matter, such and such and all this. That's bull. You want your best tackle covering the blind side of that quarterback. You want them because teams still line their best pass rushers, like they were talking about. The DE2s are just almost as good as the DE1s. That might be the case, but the DE1 still leading the charge. You put a DE1 over the blind side tackle because the quarterback cannot see him. So if that D1 firing off and he beating that blind side tackle, that quarterback going to get knocked on his ass. He might get hurt. He's going to cause some fumbles. It's going to be some bad stuff. So traditionally, your best tackle covers the blind side quarterback, the blind side of the quarterback. Trevor Penning was a stark raving rookie. When he came to that second year, he might as well have been a rookie because they ain't play nothing. And then you give him one of the most important positions outside of center to protect Derek Carr, blindside. I'm like, dude, no. But then it later came out that, what was going on with Ramczyk. See, they didn't tell you all of the stuff about Ramczyk's knee. See, you had to be almost on some Columbo type shit or Monk or some crap like, or whoever your favorite TV detective is now to be able to figure out what the Saints was doing because they didn't tell you all about that. You just would see Ryan Ramczyk pop up on the injury list, and then they would just put rest next to his REST, rest. I'm like, what's going on here? Why is all these reports having Ryan Ramczyk with rest next to his name? Because they didn't put the injury on there. We covered it during the years. And then later on, after we started saying, why is it rest here? Why is he rested? What's going on here? What's going on? Then they put rest and knee. Then it was going on like that. So the point is, Trevor Penning, as you can see, as he's walking off, I froze it right there. That's not a very confident pose because he's walking off with his arm folded, his head. He might be looking down. He might be on the step. Who knows? But if you look at Ramczyk's, not Ramczyk. If you look at Penning's posture, and he talked about confidence issues last year. That's why the reporter astutely says, how's your confidence? How you feeling? I'm feeling pretty good over here. Because the right side position is more fitting of his skill set. Tali Fuaga mentally, to me, is a little stronger than Penning. See, Penning is one of those guys, if you go back and watch him in college, Penning didn't have any problem. He's a player, and that's just pretty much the same with a lot of players, is that he functions best at a high, but he's had a really tough time over the last couple of years. Like, you draft me a first round draft pick to come here. You don't play me at all until the last game of the year in my first year, and then set me up for failure in the second year. And then the team doesn't get none of the blame for it. Everybody aimed their goddamn bows and arrows at this kid and fired at him. This guy's a bust. Capital B-U-S-T. This guy's a bust. He's a bust. And then don't say nothing about what the Saints did. I thought it was all about putting people in positions to be successful. Whatever happened to that shit? What happened to that? I was saying this at the sounds like, man, don't put that guy out there. You put Ramchek's ass over there. You're paying him all that money. Put him on the left side. They didn't do it because they didn't want to expose Ramchek, who they knew was messed up with that damn knee. So they kept his ass at that right tackle position and exposed this kid to the left tackle position, in which he failed miserably. And then the Saints, nobody pointed at the Saints except me and the Great Saint Think Tank and said they set this goddamn guy up to fail, putting him at the left tackle position. And I was saying it the whole damn time. So now, that's what I'm saying about the timeline now is now that he's at the right tackle position, because I was like, man, put Penning at the right tackle position. He'll do better. I was saying it before the season, like, Q, what we do a Ramchek? And they're going, I keep calling the kid Ramchek. I hope he plays, like he becomes a Ramchek early in his years. Not the injury, but with Penning, the whole damn thing with Penning was before they even said what the situation was going to be, I was saying, put him over there. No, not a guard. No, we don't need him to learn to be a guard. We need him to be the tackle, but he's supposed to be a right side tackle. That's a less position, like a less flashy position for him to worry about. And that's a position that he can feel safe about as opposed to that flashy left tackle position. You put Fuaga, what's the difference? Fuaga, basically it's, because when he was playing, he played so bad, the Saints benched this kid. And when the Saints benched this kid, they didn't just bench him. They put Penning at the bottom of the damn active roster. They had guys coming off the goddamn practice squad and putting them in games. They did that with Cam Irvin. I was like, where's Penning at? And I would check the injury reports. He was active. They just didn't play him. Then slowly they started giving him little work, like him being the sixth lineman in to do blocking work and all that stuff. You remember that? That kind of stuff. So like I said, man, they did Penning wrong, man. They did him wrong. To try to protect Ramchek's ass, and Ramchek probably can't even play anymore. That's what they did. They set the kid up for failure. So that's why I said he'll do better at the right tackle position. Will Tali Fuaga operate at the blindside tackle? I think he would, based on the system, because you heard what he said in there. I like this system. It fits my needs and guys. We're big physical guys. John Benton said this. Benton tells you everything. We need to hear from John Benton. That's what I really want to hear about. We need to hear more from him, because he, to me, is one of the most important people that we need to have more of a discussion with about these offensive linemen and philosophies. Because the Saints are supposed to be a heavy run team coming into this year and play action off of the run. That was the talking point. Once that occurs, if that is indeed the case, then that fits the skill set of Penning, it fits Fuaga, and it fits the Cesar Ruiz, and it fits McCoy, because they're, like he said, Penning said just now, these are big guys that can move. And get, like I keep telling y'all, most offensive linemen can run block. They can. That was that, because big guys, offensive linemen, like to put their hands on you and drive you out of the way. That's what some of these guys like to do. When they drop back into pass protection, that takes a little bit more skill, because then the big guys up front, they work their magic. But when a lineman could put his hands on the guy and drive him, that's a whole, that fits to, you see these young offensive linemen like a Penning and a Fuaga, who are big, strong, physical, athletic guys. That's true. You got to play toward their strengths. So if the Saints are setting that up, they should see them, and that way you build confidence in these young linemen. Let them do what they do best. You got to run the ball and set up the run. But yeah, Penning In this third year, man, Penning, they set Penning up to fail. I've been saying that, man. They set up here and did this unorthodox bullshit, and then everybody fired at that kid, man. They fired at this. And I was like, man, they set him up to fail. It wasn't supposed to be left tackle. He was supposed to be a right tackle, and Ramczyk was supposed to go over there. But he couldn't. And they didn't tell you that until later on last year when you found out that he was taking pain shots in that goddamn knee and still couldn't play. And I'm like, how bad is that? Think about this for a second. How bad is that knee where they were shooting Derek Carr up, and Carr told you this in his pressers early in the offseason, where he was getting shots in his back from different angles, shots here and here and here and here. He got multiple pain shots in his back to go out there and throw that goddamn football. He said that if he wouldn't have gotten the shots, he couldn't have played football. So they was shooting him all kind of ways. And they was shooting up Penning with that stuff, and it still wasn't good enough for him to get out there and play on it. And they shooting it dead. How bad is that? You want to tell me that it went from 0 to 60 real quick? It didn't happen like that. They been knew it. And just like they put Carr out there shooting them up with dope when you had these other guys that could have came in and played, just how irresponsibly and rotten that was, it's the same damn thing they did to Penning. The Saints could have been shut Penning down. They could have been did that. They could have did that last year or the year before. They knew what time it was. That's when you care more about money than a damn player. And then threw this goddamn kid under the bus. But like I said, man, I see it all. I see what happened. And I calls it out. That wasn't right how they did Carr, and that's not right how they did Penning. It damn sure ain't right how they did Ramczyk, because he might not ever be able to play professional football again. But you'll never hear that from anybody else, how they screwed that man like that. It pisses me off because they talk all this safety bullshit and then do all of this, and then nobody don't do nothing about it. It ain't about keeping no players safe. They just say that so you don't sue their ass. These guys getting shot up with, they shouldn't even be playing. Carr shouldn't even played last year with backup quarterbacks. That's what we got them for. So, I mean, anyway, it just pissed me off right quick. But Penning, man, is right where he belongs at the right tackle position. And if they run in the system that they're supposed to be running, where they're running the ball that fits the skill set of these young offensive linemen because they like to run, because they could put hands on you and drive you out of the way, then we're going to have to operate that to build up confidence and also build up familiarity with the system. Then you go into your play action bag. And that's what you won't see from Derek Carr. We need to turn Derek Carr into a play action quarterback for the rest of his tenure with the Saints, however long that might be. He has to be. That's what happened in the last 4 games of the season last year, when the Saints started to run the ball and protect the quarterback better than Derek Carr in the running game. And it was like making it seem like it was all about Derek Carr, just lit him up. Like all of a sudden, Derek Carr, the light just went on and everything went. No, everybody started playing better. The line started blocking. The Saints started running the ball better. Everything got better, and Carr along with it. And the play action got involved because they were running the ball. Play action got involved, and they was able to get that going. That's what it looks like. Play action Carr. And I kept saying it during the year. The running attack should be what we use. I said it last year. You need to use the running attack. Get the running attack to get the play action going and let Carr operate off the back of the running attack. Put 1 in the chat if you heard me say that 1,000,000 damn times last year. Then at the end of the season, did you see that? He had all this going. Man, cut it out, man. That might work for some fool that don't watch all of the games, that watch some games and then the rest of them on highlights. We sit here and watch every play. I sit here and I call the games on Sundays or Saturdays or whenever the hell they play them. I do the play-by-play on them. So I see every play. I remember the majority of what I see. So it wasn't these people, these reporters that don't watch it. Derek Carr, he just did all this. No, Derek Carr functioned well with the rest of the Saints because they were doing better. They were blocking and running the ball. Remember Kendre Miller started cutting up at the end of the year? Remember what he was doing when he was making people miss, and he was the only one of the running backs that was having some traction because Alvin Kamara was running the football and getting stopped in the hole. Kamara would get up, drop the ball, go on to the thing, Jamal Williams was doing the same thing. Jamal would hit the hole, get a yard or 2 tough yards, then get up and run off. Kendre Miller was the one doing it because Kendre Miller started getting some traction because Kendre Miller would make the initial tackler miss. And when he did that, when he cut or danced and the guy would miss, then he was able to climb to the next level and pick up 4 or 5 yards before the next guy got him. Go watch the tape. We did. We also do Patreons and film study on every game. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, man, we know what we're talking about. We know what time it is. We watch these people come here. We know in the capacity of why they said that they drafted them. I remember why they said they drafted Penning. I remember what the plan for Penning was to be originally before they said we're going to decide to put him at a left tackle. That was Dennis Allen's decision, by the way. And I knew it wasn't going to work because you can't do that. You can't put that guy, a rookie like that, on the blind side of the quarterback, and you don't know what he can do. And actually, obviously, that you have to be able to know the philosophy and mindsets of him. And then when I heard him say to the reporter that he was dealing with confidence issue, I was like, oh man, that's not good. And as you can see, some of his body language right now, to a degree, he's still trying to figure it out. But he got a chip on his shoulder this year. The right tackle position is for him, and John Benton believes in these guys. He really does. He said that we have the right guys here. And like I said, if you run in that Clint Kubiak style system, you need big guys that can athletically put their hands on defensive linemen and drive them out of there. That's what Penning does. You need him to build up his confidence because when he gets that nasty edge, you get the best out of him. You don't see nasty Penning. We don't see. Remember, we seen him when he first got here. He was getting in fights in the camp, pushing and all this kind of stuff because he liked to go after the whistle. That's a part of his makeup as a nasty offensive lineman. You don't see all that because the confidence is low. You got to build that confidence up, get that nasty edge back, and you'll see Penning thrive. So like I said, man, we know these players, man. It's just these coaches got to get on code with these players and they got to get the right out of them. That's why I was not mad at Penning. I knew what happened to him, and I wasn't going to blast that guy like that and go after that young guy like that because I knew Dennis Allen and them ain't do that guy right. They did him wrong. You don't protect Ramczyk. Ramczyk making the money, let him get his ass over there and play the blindside tackle. You're paying him like a blindside tackle. Let him go over there and block that guy. And if you can't do that, then he don't need to be on the team. If you can't do your job, you don't need to be here. Let somebody else be there. That's real money. That's real talk. If you're not healthy enough to do your job and you're supposed to be moved over there, don't put that other man out there like that. And he wasn't ready. Anyway, like I said, man, that's it. All right. So anyway, with that being said, man, listen, I'm gonna get ready to cut out on that, man. It's we're gonna see how it go. But like I said, at this stage of the events, I still see the Saints and family say, Q, what you see. I see it's all very positive. I really do. A lot of people don't like Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen got to earn it. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, y'all cut Dennis Allen some slack. I'm not asking y'all to do that. I'm not going, or in the words of our favorite general manager, VP, I'm not going to do that. Hell no, I'm not going to do that. Remember he said that? That's Mickey Urkel. Remember that? He bust that Urkel on y'all. Remember that? I'm not going to do that. Now, I'm not going to ask y'all to give anybody no slack. People got to earn it, fam. If you cutting, giving people slack, all that, man, come on, man. We're not giving nobody no slack. You're getting paid to do your job. Do your job. Do it to your benefit. And if you can't do it, then you got to find somebody else. That's the ultra competitive world in which we live in. It's what it is. I'm not going to do that. You're not qualifying. How old is Mickey? 60 or 6, the way he be acting sometime. All right. So anyway, with that being said, fam, I'm going to get ready to get out on here, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all giving me y'all valuable time for tonight. Y'all please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. If you're listening via X, please hit the retweet button as well. And listen, matter of fact, before I go, if y'all got any questions right quick, because I don't know if I answered anybody's question. I won't just dirk out on y'all like that. If y'all got a question, throw me a couple of questions, fam. 2 or 3 questions, I'll answer them right fast. Because I don't think I answered anybody's questions right quick. I just kind of tore up, went after them for how they treated Penning, man. And it's sad. Look how he look right here. Because like you feel like you've been getting, a lot of people been giving Penning some work because they just place it on the player. The blame go on the player a lot of time. It's more than just the player. It's the like what happened with the Saints offensive line and the bad stats that Alvin Kamara had last year. It all works together, but it's also what are the play callers doing? The guys that's supposed to be coaching or controlling how things go. What are they doing? If they have low accountability, things won't materialize like they're supposed to. Players will have a warped development, and that's what happened. If you see failure happening in the team, like you went backwards and when you had 7 wins in Dennis Allen's first year and 9 wins and both 9 playoff years with Dennis Allen, you're going to have a warped thing. Things are not going to grow correctly because you got a guy that's not totally an overseer, like a guy that's doing what he's supposed to do, right? And we talked about that. Then it's going to be a warped world in which these players operate in. So you're going to have warped development in these players. Like all these players are not going to materialize and manifest the way they're supposed to be if you had a D'Amico Ryans here. If you had a D'Amico Ryans here who's a guy that knows how to talk to people, who's accountable, hands-on, a bit of a diplomat, see what I'm saying? That's another level. Guys function differently in that environment. They getting, like, if it was a son, they getting all of the sun so they can grow correctly. In a Dennis Allen-led team, he doesn't have the same attributes that a D'Amico Ryans has, or any credible coach who knows what it takes to be on top of a team and understand how to trust your trust your coordinators to operate their individual areas of the team while you merely act as an overseer and those guys report to you. You see, even though we know D'Amico Ryans he's awesome, but at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. When you got somebody that's serious, you can win real quick. Because a lot of times it's about being accountable, holding guys onto a certain standard, knowing how to deal with people. If guys can't play in such and such or do this, that, and there, we ain't gonna play with you. We ain't gonna have these little weird politic games. It's about performance and doing what you're supposed to do, doing your job. If you can't do your job, we got to get somebody else. It's real. As long as we have that understanding, we can coexist in this world. But if you don't have that, it's warped. Just look at what he did with the Texans. D'Amico Ryans they were in a worse shape than what the Saints was. They were. That team was a team that hadn't been in the playoffs in a long time. D'Amico Ryans comes there, and them people win the same damn year. They go to the playoffs in the same year in his first year. How do you explain that? And they got built and put a whole bunch of free agents on that team where they're supposed to be now trying to make a shot at something. How does that work? And as a rookie quarterback leading them and everything, that's not something you will see regularly happen unless you have the right environment for growth. And that's what he represents. Now you do your own research and homework and see the differences between the D'Amico Ryans led Houston team, which beat the Saints last year, by the way, and the Dennis Allen led team, and see what the differences are. That's the point. All right, anyway, let me keep it bucking. San Antonio State, shout out to you, says, I like Dennis Allen when he has a real offensive coordinator. He can focus on the defense, but because he's definitely a top 5 D. He's a good defensive coordinator, but, like I said, let me ask you this, San Antonio Saint in the chat, and I've asked this before. I haven't gotten an answer on it yet. Perhaps you can answer this question. Have you ever seen this work before, where you have a defensive coordinator who becomes a head coach, right? And he still calls plays on the defense, and he runs and he trusts his offense to somebody else. Like, he doesn't go over there. He doesn't mess with them. He just, listen, this is your side of the team. I'm just focused over here. Whatever you do is on you. This is what he did with Pete Carmichael. I'm pretty sure he'll do the same thing with Clint Kubiak. Have we ever seen this translate to big success? Have we seen championships won this way? I'm just asking that to you guys. Y'all let me know. All right, Jerry says, well, AK4 want to get a new contract done this week. That's a tough one, Jerry. They got one on the table. The recent reports are saying the Saints, it put a contract on the table to Alvin Kamara. I don't think we'll see how it goes, because I don't know, but it's a step in the right direction. But I'm anticipating it'll be a low ball contract, which they'll have to kind of work back and forth with. And it's all based on the fact that what we heard then when Mickey Loomis saying about where we see the player's value at. What does he mean by that? Those are context clues, by the way. What does he see that at? And Mickey's not hard to read, just like Alvin's not hard to read, because they're not sneaky, conniving people, even though Mickey's slick business wise, right? But you can figure them out. But it's like, if you look at what Mickey's doing And he's using the Alvin stat over the last several years to build a case for why he believes his value, his monetary value was here. And while he says some players see their value up here, it's only one person you could be talking about, even though he's not specifically talking about Alvin Kamara, even though the conversation is about a contract dealing with Alvin Kamara. Some guys see their value up here. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes, stats say you're down here. I'm like, he didn't say stats, but he says the value. How did you anticipate? How did you create the idea that his value was here? Where did that come from? Only one way you could have came up with that. You use stats. Stat drove your mentality toward putting his value here because he's doing it according to the stats. Now, is that underhanded? Like I said earlier in the show, it's not, because what he's doing is he's saying, well, your stats put you right here, and he's basing the stats using that versus other people while putting it down here. And Alvin obviously feels like he's up here. What occurs is Mickey bottoms it out right here, and perhaps he moves it half the way where Alvin takes this deal half the way. You see what I'm saying? It's a very shrewd way of operating to keep the value low as he could, so that maybe Alvin comes from here to here. And if he can do that, then that could be a win for the Saints, because Mickey Loomis understands that over the next 2 years, the Saints have monetary issues that he created. So he's not trying to burden the team down with something like that. But it just so happens that you got people that's coming up. You're going to have to pay them. You got Alvin Kamara. You got Paulson Adebo. You got a bunch of people. When the season is over, you're going to have to make a decision on what you do with these guys. You got Pete Werner on the contract year. You got Willie Gay, who's a 1-year deal. Chase Young's a 1-year deal. Pete Werner, Peyton Turner, all that kind of stuff. So they got guys on 1-year deals. Do you want Paulson Adebo to hit the market? The Saints will have to kind of come up with some kind of money to pay Paulson, if anybody. If you're looking at Alvin and Paulson, those are the two guys that you might want to have on this team going into 2 or 3 years or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so we'll have to see. So that's my look. And I seen Mickey Loomis is real slick with that. He very slick with that. Julie says, I do legs, back pulling, shoulders, arms, and chest push-ups. I'm broke down powerlifting. Okay, you used to do. All right. YO says, do you think Kool-Aid could start if he explodes in training camp, and where? Yeah, Kool-Aid McKinstry, if Marshawn Lattimore is not ready, bro, he definitely can step up there. I don't see Kool-Aid. I see Kool-Aid stepping that too, to be honest with you. I don't think the Saints move Alante Taylor out of the nickel. I think they keep Alante at the nickel position. I don't think they try to make Kool-Aid play the nickel, even though I'm not saying that he can't play it. I think he can play at this young stage. The guy's so talented. He has the speed and the intelligence. He can definitely do that. But his potentiality, this guy's going to be a starter next year, because I think ultimately the Saints will eventually move on from Marshawn Lattimore. I don't think it happens this year, but next year, no doubt about it, because Paulson Adebo has a higher priority in terms of contract wise than Marshawn Lattimore. Paulson is the future. So is Kool-Aid McKinstry. Alante's still on a cheap contract on his rookie deal. So the only odd man out is Marshawn Lattimore. So, like I said, I think this will be the last time we see this collection of cornerbacks together. I think this is a top 5 unit. It can be the potential to be a top 3 unit if they stay healthy. That's the big case. Always health is always a part of this thing when you're talking about them cornerbacks, especially with the Saints. It's very interesting. All right, Vobin says D'Amico, coach from Houston Q, is a defensive-minded coach, and Bobby leads the offense. Okay, thank you for that, bro. Appreciate you. All right, well, we did have some success to that. Did anybody see any success lead to a title? I maybe should have been a little bit more clearer, and should have been a little bit more clearer in the question. Like, have we ever seen this lead to anything big? Like, do we see this template that the Saints are using where you have a defensive coordinator? Because I used D'Amico Ryans because he was a defensive coordinator. He was a fire linebacker, but he was a defensive coordinator that took over the job. And I used the comparison because to a degree, you can see both of them have somewhat of a similar background in terms of D'Amico being a defensive coordinator, Dennis being a defensive coordinator. They're both very good defensive coordinators, but using a template as we seeing right now where you just trust an offensive guy and that led to titles? Have we seen that before? Is what I'm asking. That's what I mean. All right. Joe, is that Joe says Bill Cowher? Is that the case? Bill Cowher used to. I'm gonna have to think about that one, brother. Yeah, that one I'm gonna have to think about. All right. Julius says Loomis ain't worth the bag of chips. I actually do like the direction team is going, so I can't hate too much. Nah, you dropping some facts, bro. Thank you. All right. Byron says Mickey stepped up and handled business when all of our players under contract, but God, we paying it. Okay, I got you, Byron. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. All right. Tampa Bay, what Louisiana says, Tampa Bay with Tony Dungy. Was Tony Dungy calling? But Tony Dungy wasn't calling the plays, though, was he? He wasn't calling defensive plays, was he? Because I think see, the thing is, I'm saying like Dennis Allen, like he doesn't have anything to do. It's like I'm gonna have to think about it, because even when we talk about Bill Cowher, I don't remember Bill Cowher calling defensive plays. Like it's set up where I'm the head coach. I'm calling the defensive plays. I don't have nothing to do with the offense, right? That's that guy's stuff. And we've seen different people utilize it, but I don't know if it's the same with Tony Dungy and Bill Cowher. I'm gonna have to research that, because I don't remember Bill Cowher calling plays defensively, and I don't remember Tony Dungy calling plays defensively. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's what I'm saying. The template of how the Saints are currently doing it, did that ever lead to a title? Because like I said, those are good examples, but I don't think I'm going to have to do some research on that. Yeah. I'm gonna have to think about it, because I don't remember Tony Dungy, like he hit him in there with a play sheet calling plays. Okay, y'all ready? I don't remember that. Neither Bill Cowher. I don't remember Bill Cowher doing that, calling plays. Bill Cowher was an overseer, just like Tony Dungy was. That's the point. The point is, like, you need all of your attention on all three aspects of the defense. Because let's be candid. Dennis Allen is not good enough to be split and focus on defense. You got a defensive coordinator. It's like Dennis Allen. Okay, Dennis Allen's a good defensive coordinator. He is a good defensive coordinator, but the problem is he's a head coach now. He can let that go. You're supposed to. The guy that you brung in here last year was Joe Woods. He brought Joe Woods. He went and got Joe Woods from Cleveland and said, "This is my defensive coordinator, Joe Woods." He had a relationship with Joe Woods working back to the Raiders. He went and got all his guys, Marcus Robinson, the secondary guy, Joe Woods. The only guy he didn't change was the linebacker coach, Michael Hodges. But the cornerbacks, the safeties, because Joe Woods is the secondary. Even though Marcus Robinson, who's the secondary coach, is key. He coaches the safeties, and Joe Woods, who got the defensive coordinator, coaches the cornerbacks. The defensive line coach is a guy. Todd Grantham is a guy that Dennis Allen picked up. That's most of these guys that are on the team. The only guy that's still a leftover from the Sean Payton era, if y'all correct me if I'm wrong, is Michael Hodges, the linebackers coach. So the majority of all the turnover that happened, all of those guys are the top people on offense. All those guys are Dennis Allen's picks. Clancy Barone is Dennis Allen's picks. Clancy Barone came on the team last year as a tight ends coach. Correct me if I'm wrong. So this is Dennis Allen's team, is what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, when you bring guys in here, let's be real. Dennis Allen is a good defensive coordinator, but he ain't good enough as a head coach. Head coach, which is the overseer of every coordinator. He picked coordinator. He got Joe Woods here. Joe Woods should be calling the plays, and Dennis Allen should be watching every position, right? As opposed to focalizing on the defense, because that's what he does. Even if you go to the practices and watch him practice, he be over there with the defense. Once you go over there, brother, listen, be an overseer. Just walk around, do the knowledge, because you're not good enough to be sitting up there calling defensive plays every Sunday. You need to pay attention to your overall team. And I just think that's one of his weak points, that he can't split focus. That's an issue with Dennis. Because how you going to have a person who can't split focus, who's not good at multi-purposing, this dude's not even attention detail centered. He's weak in his accountability feel? He's weak accountably. He's not a detail-centered person, and he's splitting focus as a defensive coordinator calling plays, and he's the head coach, and you have a defensive coordinator who you picked. You see what I'm getting at? That's what I'm saying. This is an issue. Like, he needs to let that alone and let Joe Woods do it. And if Joe Woods struggle, then you pick it up. But he shouldn't struggle because you picked that guy. You picked him. I ain't pick him. I like Joe Woods, but I didn't pick Joe Woods. Those are deep. That's Dennis Allen's guys. If he picked him, he paying him. He should be trusting him. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's a weakness about Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen don't need to be calling no goddamn plays. He needs to give that up to his defensive coordinator and focus on being an overseer of the Saints. That's what he needs to do. But he ain't going to do that. He ain't going to do that. He ain't going to do it. So that's why I was asking the question, have you ever seen this particular model work where a guy, he's calling plays? Because listen, fam, you got to have a certain special set of skills to be able to multi-purpose and do all that kind of stuff. And Dennis Allen ain't it. I'm just keeping it a buck. The guy been here for a long time, straight up and down. That's just me. That's how I look at it, man. All right. Thank you, San Antonio Saint. Shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Much love to you, man. All right. So big ups to you. Appreciate you, fam. All right. Priest says it's possible Allen just needs to hold people accountable and stop playing. But how you do that, bro, when you don't? That's what I'm saying. Dennis Allen's answer to accountability and attention detail was to hire attention, detail, and accountable guys in hopes that it spreads throughout the team. This is what he said. He said that when he hired Clint Kubiak, he talked about the accountability and attention to detail, by the way, which is things that we were talking about for the last several years about the Saints, which is one of the main couple of reasons why the Saints been failing. It's mighty ironic and strange that this season came and all you've been hearing by Dennis Allen, that dude did not say those words like that last year or the year before. He wasn't saying it because I was listening. This year, he said accountability and attention to detail more than I ever heard before. And we were saying that shit for the last 2 years about this team. And all of a sudden, hey, accountability, attention to detail, accountability, attention to detail. Man, get out of here, man. You know what I mean? Not you, Priest. I'm just saying Dennis Allen with all that, man. We've been saying that for years, bro. Go back and listen to the shows, man. It ain't hard to tell, man. You just got to have some balls and call it like it is. All right. San Antonio says, bro, respectfully, I disagree. I would not remove Dennis Allen from the defensive play call. I'm just saying in terms of him being a head coach. But if Dennis Allen picks Joe Woods, because the thing is a distraction. He's not. If you want Dennis Allen to improve as a head coach, then he has to let his coordinators call it. Joe Woods is not a bad defensive coordinator. He's not. That's Dennis Allen's picked guy. He worked with him before. He knows what Dennis Allen knows. Dennis Allen speaks highly of Joe Woods. Joe Woods knows defense. He really does. So, I mean, before and unless it's done, then I can't say that it would be what you saying, San Antonio said respectfully, because we haven't seen it. So it could very well work if practice, but we never seen it before. But we know that Joe Woods knows defense. We know that he was a very decent defensive coordinator. He might have not been a Dennis Allen, but he was a good defensive coordinator. But we'll never know that because this won't happen, brother. So I guess it's kind of a moot point, isn't it? It's just something we just think rolling over. So you never know. All right. All right. So anyway, man, listen, I'm gonna get ready to get out on here. All right. Yeah, he can coach defense, Duke. I agree he can coach defense. But I mean, that's not the point. We're not debating whether or not Dennis Allen can coach defense. But that's a given. We know he can coach the defense. But it ain't what I'm talking about. Can he be a head coach? Like, can he be an overseeing head coach that lets his guy call it and still watch it, but let his guy call it, not letting them, get to the point where, he ain't involved in it, but he's over the team. He's the head coach. He's the head coach. He can't do both. He doesn't have that skill set. We can do both, like what Sean Payton was doing. Sean Payton was calling the plays, and many times like Sean Payton, but Sean Payton would pay attention. Sean Payton would go over there and he would mean mug, goddamn, what's the guy? Rex Ryan's brother, Rob Ryan. Remember all the times he would be over there mean mugging Rob Ryan. He was paying attention. You see what I'm saying? And he would actually go over there and he would fuss at Rob Ryan. He would fuss at the defensive coordinator. He didn't see shit that he didn't like. Sean Payton was astute enough and organized enough to do both those things, is what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making. He would go over there and handle business with the defensive coordinator and make him get on his shit if something didn't work right. He would fuss at the special teams guy. Remember that? There was times Sean Payton would let them have it if it was stinking. What the hell is going on? I remember he did that to, what's his face, Rizzy. He'd get on you. That's what I'm saying. It's a skill set where you can be able to multi-purpose. It ain't the point that Dennis Allen is a good defensive coordinator. That's the point. My point is he ain't a good head coach. He needs to be more of an overseer. He needs to practice that and get better at that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. All right. T-Roy says, no, he can do it. He can't do it. All right. Well, that's what my point is, that he can't do it. Like, be an overseer. I want to see that happening because perhaps that's the next level of the team, right? So we'll see. All right. So anyway, let me get on up out of here. Listen, thank all of y'all, man. That's great points to everyone. I'm looking at you. Julius, I see you, fam. San Antonio Saint, thank you. Duke, T-Roy, Kenneth. All right. Appreciate you. He said Sean Payton. Sean Payton was calling them plays, man, but Sean Payton would get on them guys, man. Y'all remember? Remember he used to be mean mugging Rob Ryan? Remember that? Mean mugging. That's what led to Dennis Allen. After Dennis Allen got fired, Sean Payton brought him in as a special assistant. And I said, he'll be fired real soon. And that's exactly what happened. He moved Rob Ryan out, Dennis Allen on in. But Sean Payton will let you have it. He would. He bitched at the special. I remember him doing that, bitching at the special team coordinator, bitching at the defensive coordinator. He would get on you. That's something that Dennis Allen's character just doesn't have. He doesn't have that get on you ability. But he don't have to be like a Sean Payton or a Chucky. He can be like a Tony Dungy type, or a quiet guy, or like Jim Caldwell, who's from Tony Dungy's school of quiet coaching. He can go there and kind of nudge him. Hey man, listen, we got to do something about that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, coach, you're right, coach. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to be, you firing brimstone ass Sean Payton or Chucky. You can be quiet like a Dennis Allen or a Jim Caldwell type. Those both work. I think Dennis Allen more on that quiet type, but those attributes in terms of accountability, we know he don't have very much of that. That's why he hired them other guys. And he wants that for what they do to translate throughout the team. He actually said that in the presser where he talked about how much accountability the guys he hired on the offensive side have, and how that could be a model or whatever the word that he used. I'm paraphrasing phrasing for the whole team to follow. He basically said that in the presser, and I was like, yeah. And what? I was like, isn't that supposed to come from the top down? Are you thinking it to go like here to here? I was like, because when he said, I was like, but we gonna see. We're gonna see how it works. All right. So anyway, Colorado, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. Said, did you read the last one? No, what you said? Yes, I'm gonna be on tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday. That's Patreon. So usually on Tuesdays, I go on Patreon, patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. The link's in the description section. I think the link tree is there, or you can simply join the YouTube channel. You'll get that broadcast when we post it tomorrow. But usually Tuesdays is reserved for my Patreon membership family and my YouTube membership family for special streams. We got like more than 200 plus lock content shows that's only members only. And we've been doing now for the last couple of years. It's like more than that, maybe close to 300 shows. That's lock content shows. All kind of stuff is on there, man. So if you want to be a part of that, you can join the Patreon or become a YouTube member of the stream. I'll be doing it for our Patreon members tomorrow. So with that being said, listen, man, I appreciate all y'all. Shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate all y'all. I'm gonna give y'all all a round of applause tonight. Appreciate y'all guys for being here, man. Listen, I'm gonna holler at y'all on tomorrow Patreon. All the latest news, notes on the Saints, the black and gold, we'll cover it on our Patreon stream. And for the other family members that's not Patreon, I'll see y'all on Wednesday. Much love to the fam, and who that, I'm out.
Yeah. Boogie like Vincent, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 huh? Boogie like Vincent, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees are Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That, you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop.